There is no way in hell Kingdom Hearts 1 would ever be made today. A real-time action RPG where you, a 14-year-old anime boy with big clown shoes and a giant key sword, venture to various worlds based on iconic Disney movies, alongside Lord Donaldson Duck and Sir Goofilius III of Goofystan, while sometimes running into Final Fantasy cameos who offer either cryptic wisdom or a sword to your face. Yeah, try pitching that to Disney nowadays and watch as those risk-averse executives yeet it into the sun because it's just too out there or whatever. Yet, for such a bizarre concept, Kingdom Hearts has proven to be an incredibly successful, beloved franchise. And for that success, Kingdom Hearts fans have become accustomed to trying to explain this franchise's eccentricities and oddities to outsiders. Unofficial, unpaid diplomats we are, I fear. And while the memes are hilarious, both in and out of context...
Kyrie's inside me?
Did somebody mention the door to darkness?
No heart. No see friends.
They'll pay for this.
It's Riku! They put bugs in him!
What?
There are still those who walked away from the franchise earlier on. Some during the long wait for KH3, where they either didn't know about all of the side games, decided to opt out, or just plain couldn't because they were on another random handheld of the day that they did not have. Others because certain later entries like KH3 weren't to their liking. Yet there are also always newbies flooding in who aren't familiar with the franchise's complicated, tumultuous history, and just see Donald Duck casting a nuke spell and go, yeah, give me some of that, please.
Donald, no!
We're not free!
Did he die? Bitch, I think he did.
I personally recall Kingdom Hearts being my first true obsession. My mom low-key got me on computer games and console games before I'd even started kindergarten, thank God. And I remember loving Kingdom Hearts 1 when it first came out on the PS2. I was there suffering through the plot-relevant Game Boy Advance game Chain of Memories, hating the gameplay. I was there wondering why the hell this Roxas person was taking up the whole prologue of Kingdom Hearts 2 instead of Sora. And I was there, burning through side game after side game, be it for the PSP, the DS, or the 3DS, wondering when the fuck Kingdom Hearts 3 was ever gonna come out. Through it all, the writing of Kingdom Hearts never really wowed me, but I did care about these characters that I had essentially grown up with. And so naturally, with how divisive the series has become with its fanbase, I myself have quite a few microwavable hot takes that I fear sharing. But you know, I might as well overcome that fear and get paid for sharing them, I guess. And so we're going to talk about the Kingdom Hearts series in depth. Originally, I was going to make one video briefly talking about each entry, but the problem is I never shut up. Like, that's my one talent, never shutting the fuck up about anything. So instead, we're going to be doing individual videos for each entry in the series as retrospectives, and then cobbling them all together at the end into one unholy monstrosity of a video. Low-key, I hope it ends up being 13 hours long, because how perfect of an Easter egg would that be? Alternatively 20, if I'm powerful enough. To kick things off, we're going to talk Kingdom Hearts 1 today. We're mostly going to be focused on writing, story, characters, and theme, with some discussion of gameplay elements throughout. And while this will be enjoyable to longtime fans getting to stroll down memory lane with me gaily, I do want this also to be welcoming to newbies who have no clue what the fuck these games are, and honestly would rather fuck with it through videos about it than actually play it. I will encourage you and sometimes threaten you and your family to play these games, but you don't have to, you know, unless you want me hunting you in the middle of the night. Before we begin, ciao! My name's Thomas, aka the Unicorn of War, and I make videos about the media that rots my brain and talk about it for far, far, far too long. You need something to listen to while you do the dishes or get your groceries, don't you? Don't judge me. If you enjoy your time here, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications of new videos because, and say it with me now, YouTube hates creators. And if you're willing and able, you can also pledge your support over on Patreon. Patrons get early access scripts and videos, Patreon exclusive videos, and access to the private Union of War Discord server. Now, without further ado, let the chaos commence. We begin, as all great stories do, with trippy abstract visuals as the main character contemplates the nature of reality betwixt ominous dark clouds.
I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real? Or not?
I mean, who hasn't been there? Let me tell you, this is pure, unfiltered, I'm 14 and this is deep energy, and I live for it. Much of Kingdom Hearts' story, especially in the first couple games, centers around the painful metamorphosis of growing up, of leaving your childhood behind as you become an adult, while also struggling not to lose all of the lighthearted innocence in a dark, frightening, and unpredictable world. Given the age of most people when they first played Kingdom Hearts, this is the perfect approach to endear the audience, since they are likely to share this struggle as they themselves try to navigate the world as they find their own footing. And a lot of that is the process of self-discovery, where at so many points you think to yourself, is this real life? Is this chaotic, painful mess really what it's all about? Casually, if you don't give this line much thought, you can write it off as trying to appear deep without losing much, but the sincerity of the question and its underlying apprehension do tonally match the rest of the game's story and themes. And I dig that. What then follows is what many Kingdom Hearts fans refer to as AMV material, because these games' opening cinematics are ripe for angsty edits. Set to the Planet B remix of Simple and Clean by Utada Hikaru, the intro shows us the three main characters, Sora, Riku, and Kairi, all trying to enjoy a day at the beach, all the while realizing the answer to Sora's question is, yeah, I'm not sure if this is all for real, because reality is melting right in front of me and it's terrifyingly immaculate.
When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go.
Again, the imagery on display is wild and immediately eye-catching. Like in a music video, the visuals can seem to be solely for the purpose of capturing the viewer's imagination, drawing them in with absurd, dreamlike spectacles. But when you take a closer look, there's hidden depth. Or maybe not hidden, more obscured. There is a visceral story going on here that clicks into place as you play the game, but you can still gather what's going on intuitively without the context. Think of it as dream interpretation. Your brain takes subconscious thoughts, beliefs, and anxieties and manifests them into stories and images in your dreams. They may not make logical sense, but they make emotional sense. We begin with Sora floating through the dark depths of the sea, only to awaken back on the shores of his island. He sees his friend Riku standing out in the water. Before he can run to his friend, the water recedes, forming a tidal wave coming to engulf them both. Sora rushes out to Riku, but Riku is totally unbothered. He just reaches out his hand. Even when the wave hits and they're both submerged, Riku remains calm and collected, and the tide pulls Sora away as he struggles to reach him. In this case, the visuals foreshadow the disaster about to befall Destiny Islands, the boys' homeworld. Riku remains unfazed by the disaster, deciding to embrace the chaos and the darkness, which explains why he seems perfectly unaffected by what should be killing him. The whole game, Riku descends a dark path from which Sora is unable to pull him back from. Sora is then pulled back to the beach. Sunset has fallen, and Kairi calls out from the shore. Kairi seems cheerful, just happy to see him, and the feeling appears mutual. However, the mood shifts as they look to the sky to see, among a meteor shower, another Sora falling from the sky. The Sora down on the beach falls back in shock, falling into the sky as Kairi vanishes in a ripple of water. Okay, so falling into the sky, iconic. Obsessed with this visual 100%, 10 out of 10. Also a bit funny given the meaning of the trio's names. In Japanese, Riku means land, Kairi means sea, and Sora means sky. Kind of weird that the land guy got devoured by the sea, but you can't win them all, I suppose. Kairi vanishing here does track with events later on. Given the moment of laughter here, it's likely to show the moment of peace that gets interrupted by the anomaly that we're about to witness. Another version of Sora, made funnier by events of later games, here could just mean another facet of Sora's character or personality. In this case, the version of Sora changed by what he just experienced by Riku. Sora then falls through the sky into the sun and back into the depths of the sea, literally transcending the celestial borders of his world to the greater unknown. It's ethereal, it's life-changing, and it's frightening. We then effortlessly shift into the tutorial stage, as Sora's first step releases a burst of light. Doves fly out in all directions, leaving behind the mural of the first Disney princess as the ground upon which Sora walks. Snow White. This transition from the ending visual into gameplay absolutely eats. Fantastic way to grab your audience's attention and foreshadow events and themes to come without necessarily giving it all away immediately. And given the tutorial stage is later revealed to be a dream of Sora's, we can assume the intro sequence was as well, so perhaps the use of dream interpretations wasn't too far off. And real quick, I want to say that I adore Simple and Clean. The lyrics match that struggle of growing up and realizing things aren't as straightforward as they seemed when you were young, told through the story of a young romance awkwardly stumbling through adolescent milestones. What should be simple, the idea of falling in love with someone and that being enough, turns out to be quite difficult when faced with all the complex issues that come with growing up in a complex world. It eats. Apparently, Nomura knew right off the bat that he wanted Utada to do the main theme for Kingdom Hearts. His staff were like, no, she's never gonna do it, please be real. But he went for it anyway, and Utada immediately went, sure, why not? If that is not the epitome of Kingdom Hearts' entire existence, I don't know what is. And the Planet B remix is definitely one of my favorite versions of the song. The fast pace gets you hyped to play the game and works well paired with the cinematic, especially when certain actions match the beats of the song. The tutorial takes place in what is known as the Station of Awakening. This mysterious otherworldly realm is an endless dark void filled with a faint fog, the only walkways being large cylindrical platforms made of stained glass. The tops of these platforms bear illustrations of different characters. In short, this realm represents people's hearts. They are the manifestation of the interiors of their hearts. Hearts in this case essentially being a person's soul or essence. And for the record, I mean this in the sense of a metaphor, because the later games get obsessed with trying to literalize everything, and even differentiate between souls and hearts, and it gets very frustrating very quickly, as they seem not to realize the metaphorical realm that the earlier games were operating in. There are 5 platforms in this tutorial stage, 4 of which represent Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, and Belle. No, I'm not sure why Cindy is a brunette here, nor why Belle is a ginger, but their looks slay. As does Aurora's purple dress. I'm guessing the changes were made to suit the aesthetics here. Truth be told, Cinderella kind of kills it with this brunette look. I love that for her. Given Kingdom Hearts as a series is basically 1/3 Disney, the other chunks being Square Enix and Nomura's Psyche, it makes sense to have different aspects of the Disney brand play prominently into the story, including the Disney princesses. It ties the Disney stuff into the story early on, and in a way that matches the lucid, mystical tone that this opener radiates. And we will see later on in the story, this dream works not only as a tutorial, but also as a premonition of what's to come for Sora. These 4 princesses' current states can be surmised from their presence here, especially in concert with the 5th platform not reflecting one particular princess, but rather the silhouettes of 3 princesses. This one confused me for years, especially since the silhouettes don't match the remaining prominent princesses in the story, but they're not supposed to. They represent the idea of a princess so as to hide the identities of the remaining ones, as these 3 are still free from the encroaching darkness that's already consumed the 4 we've seen. It is again something that clicks by the end of the game, but on your first playthrough, you still get the important information that these characters, and likely other well-known, recognizable Disney characters, will be present later on. Something I think that both kids and Disney fans will appreciate without compromising the serious tone of the game. At the start of the stage, you are asked to choose between 3 weapons: a sword, a staff, and a shield. You must choose one weapon to wield and another to give up, which will translate into how your stats are balanced for the rest of the game. I don't know the exact details, but I do know it will also impact at what level you learn certain skills. It asks you to prioritize and tailors your progression to your answers. And I can't help but enjoy the way that this ties into the uncertainty that comes with growing up, being unsure of your own choices as you move forward, wondering if you made the right call, and figuring it all out as you go. Personally, I usually go for the sword and then I give up the staff, because I cannot imagine waiting past level 9 to get the scan ability, Jesus. You also encounter shadows, the most basic enemy in the game. You're not quite sure what they are aside from creatures of darkness. Their design is simple but deeply memorable, with glowing yellow eyes that are both adorable and ominous. Their little hunch, their zigzaggy antennae, and their sharp claws again walk that fine line between cute and threatening, making them perfect base villains for a game meant to be accessible for kids. Silly and not too scary, but just scary enough to be clear that they're a threat. And mechanically, they help you get the basic feel of combat. Since they sink into the ground like their namesake, swimming through the floor around you, you have to wait until they rise back up to strike them before they strike you. But none of this would work without the illustrious Yoko Shimamura. Seriously, this woman makes magic. The main theme here is Dive to the Heart, an eerie melody carried by an ethereal choir, and a deep bassy boom that I think is a piano? I'm not a music girly, so please don't bully me, but I absolutely love how haunting this sounds. It really helps sell the idea that this is a foreboding, liminal space that should not be tread. As it picks up, it becomes Destati, which evolves that eerie feeling into a deep, blaring terror, perfect for the boss fight at the end of the stage. Now, to make it even better, this song is apparently cursed. I assume by a county fair witch. Whenever the chorus of this song was loaded, like in the software, bad shit would start going down. Like all of the power in the square building going off. You know, fun curse stuff instead of killing anyone or stealing your firstborn among a swarm of locusts. Though let's be real, if any human would be capable of opening the door to such primal terrors through music, it would be Yoko Shimamura. It just would be. The soundtrack was reorchestrated for the HD remasters. Originally, the score featured synthesized MIDI instruments, but the remastered score features real ones. And I must say, the glow up is astounding. Both versions have their merits. Personally, I find the MIDI instruments hold a certain charm, especially for eerie tracks like Dive to the Heart, that feel more foreboding with the uncannily synthetic choir so choppily hopping between notes. Between these platforms, you are taken back to Destiny Islands for a bit, where you are greeted by your Final Fantasy besties asking you invasive questions about the meaning of life. This very existential opener has undoubtedly shaped my turbulent perceptions of reality. Now, I am not a Final Fantasy girly. I now know who these characters are in the sense that I know what games they come from, but I don't know them intimately, and I had no clue who they were growing up. I just knew that they were cool and edgy, and I vibed with that. And perhaps that's why Final Fantasy characters are basically just cameos in these games, because they're assuming that the kids playing them aren't gonna know who these people are. Final Fantasy characters tend to be confined to either select Disney worlds or the original worlds, rather than having worlds corresponding to their games. And as a Tales fan, I assume it's because entire worlds based on JRPGs would just be way too complex and clash tonally with the Disney worlds, just too much. I tend to feel the Final Fantasy characters are underwritten, and from what I have heard from Final Fantasy fans, their personalities tend to differ drastically from their original games or come off as watered down versions of them. Now, if these games had Tales characters as cameos, and they gave this treatment to my faves like Luke or Mila or Velvet, there would be absolute hell to pay. The Final Fantasy girlies have their moments in the first couple games, but I do wish they had more prominence, especially as the series goes on. In this case, we have Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII and Tidus and Wakka from Final Fantasy X. Is it Tidus or is it Tidus? Because in this they say Tidus, but I've heard Tidus, whatever. Who in the universe of Kingdom Hearts all live on Destiny Islands with the main trio. They are basically just background characters meant to make the island feel more fleshed out, and also as optional fights to help you get more accustomed to the combat mechanics. For right now, they are here to prompt your existential dread. Selfie asks what's most important to you, Titus asks what you're afraid of, and Waka asks you what you want out of life. And each of them will bully you for your answer, just to dig at your insecurities, or in the case of Tiny Me, establish them. Depending on your answers, you will be told your journey begins at either dawn, midday, or the dead of night, which changes the rate at which you level up. For dawn, you will level up quickly from levels 1 to 50, then slower afterwards. It's the inverse of that for the dead of night, and midday keeps you at an even pace throughout. It's ultimately up to what you prefer, and to my knowledge could also be useful for runs on harder difficulties. Personally, I always answer that friendship is most important to me, that I fear being indecisive, and that I want to broaden my horizons. Yes, to be cheesy, they are all what's most true for me, but they also result in a midday journey that I tend to prefer. You know, I like the steady pace that doesn't make my life any harder than it needs to be at any point. Once you hit the save point on the Aurora platform, you are then prompted by the light to ascend the stained glass stairway to another pillar in the distance. Naturally, you follow, and Tiny Me was terrified to turn around and see the platforms disappear behind me. Like, what do you mean there's no turning back? Like, I would like to turn back, please. You know, I see where a lot of my anxiety started, I guess. Once you reach the bell platform, your shadow decides it's tired of following you, crawls its way out of the ground, and grows into the shape of a freaky monster known as the Dark Side. It's a large, stronger, more grotesque version of the shadows. It's still got the weird zigzaggy little footsies, but it's far more muscular, with a large chest and arms to suggest overwhelming strength, but also an uncanny factor given how unbalanced it is. You know, very top heavy there, Dark Side, very top heavy.
You should try rollerblading sometime. It's super fun. It'd probably take you a while though, since you're so, you know, top heavy. Excuse me?
Here we go.
The heart-shaped cut through the chest adds to the uncanniness while also being literally heartless. I dig it. And the face being obscured by shadowy hair tentacles, mimicking Sora's spiky hair, with only the same eerie glowing yellow eyes as the shadows peering through. It is such a good design. I think this fight gave me my fear of giant boss fights, now that I think about it. Now, you don't have to win this fight, which is nice for a tutorial stage. You know, it doesn't punish you if you're not quite acquainted enough with the combat yet. But once you understand the Dark Side's behavior, this fight becomes surprisingly easy, which again works perfectly for the game's first boss. Whether you win or lose, ultimately, your weapon deserts you, and you are consumed by the darkness as the Dark Side falls on you. As you're consumed, a disembodied voice, a voice which has been guiding you for the rest of the tutorial up to this point, tells you to have no fear, for you hold the mightiest weapon of all, and you are the one who will open the door. Now, we don't know who this voice is. I assume there is still heated debates over it to this very day. Truthfully, I don't really think it matters who it is. It reads to me more as an inner voice reassuring you in the face of absolute all-consuming dread. If this is a premonition of what's to come for Sora, then this voice is the inner wisdom and strength guiding him forward. And that's the tutorial stage. Might I say, the vibes are immaculate. You're introduced to this dark, surreal tone to get an idea of what you're in store for, and it definitely helps hook the player. If the game just started with the kids on Destiny Islands or with a Disney World, I doubt it would capture the same interest. This hooks new players and helps them learn the fundamentals, but also has enough mystery to make them wonder what the rest of the game is going to be like, while still clicking perfectly into place once you have all the information. Our story follows Sora, a young boy from the Destiny Islands. He spends his days lazing about, dreaming about other worlds with his besties, Riku and Kairi.
Whoa! Give me a break, Kyrie.
Sorry, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you snoozing down here.
And being beaten to within an inch of his life by a trio of Final Fantasy characters who don't really matter, but they're there.
Not your day, I guess.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Waka, if you ever speak to me again, I'm gonna shove one of your blitz balls down your throat. Selfie, I will trip you with your own jump rope. And Titus, I will mispronounce your name as Titus. I'm still not really sure which one it is. I would assume Titus, because tides? No, whatever. Anyway, what really matters here is our trio of original characters designed to help bridge the Disney and Final Fantasy IPs while also allowing Kingdom Hearts to remain its own entity beyond just being a fever dream crossover. Sora is our lead, and there's not really much to say about him. He's basically your everyman protagonist you would expect from your average shonen. You know, just an ordinary boy, dreams of adventure, is kind of stupid and impulsive, but is ultimately a very kind person. Though he is a bit sassier in the better written entries, you know, before he becomes insufferably childish. You could argue that Sora's plainness allows the player to project onto him, which works well enough. You know, Sora's just your average kid who wants to go on wacky adventures with his friends, and one who, if given the opportunity, wouldn't mind playing the part of a hero.
I'd like to see it too, along with any other worlds out there. I want to see them all.
Riku, Sora's bestie, is a year older than the other two doofuses.
Aren't you guys forgetting about me? I guess I'm the only one working on the raft. And you're just as lazy as he is.
So you know this.
He's Sora's rival, coming off as aloof and a tad broody. Too cool for school. No, I don't know if these kids go to school, stop asking. He is by far the most interested in seeing other worlds, wanting to escape the confines of the islands. Which definitely is not going to be a problem later. Definitely not.
I've always wondered why we're here, on this island. Why did we end up on this one? And suppose there are other worlds, then ours is just a little piece of something much greater. We could have just as easily ended up somewhere else, right?
I don't know.
As the rival, Riku often teases Sora about how much better he is at everything, most often exploiting Sora's apparent crush on Kairi. However, Riku isn't really shown to have that much of a romantic interest directly in Kairi. It's more platonic, with most of the interest pointed towards what she represents for the worlds beyond the islands. More on that in a bit.
You've been thinking a lot lately, haven't you?
He's distant and moodified, and he's been thinking, which really worries me.
Thanks to you. If you hadn't come here, I probably would have never thought of any of this.
For instance, there is this special star-shaped fruit native to the Destiny Islands called the Paupu fruit. According to legend, when two people share one, their destinies become intertwined. Riku tosses one to Sora and jokes about him wanting to try it, with the implication being that he wants to share it with Kairi.
Sora! You wanted one, didn't you? Come on, I know you want to try it.
What are you talking?
You can't catch me, gay thoughts.
And then, in the most infuriating race known to man, the two have a bet. If Sora wins, he gets to be captain of the raft. Riku, though, says that the winner gets to share a Paupu fruit with Kairi.
If I win, I'm captain. And if you win,
I get to share the Paupu with Kairi.
huh?
Deal? The winner gets to share a Paupu with Kairi.
Wait a minute.
Mind you, the only time Riku has interacted with Kairi this entire time has been one playful jab, and him admitting she's why he's so invested in seeing other worlds. The rest of the time, he's got Sora on the brain. Has that led to me and a large chunk of gays who grew up on these games headcanoning Riku as gay and quietly in love with Sora all along? Why, I don't know what you're referring to, officer. Now, Kairi. Kairi deserves so much better from this goddamn series. She's part of our main trio, considered Sora's love interest, yet this franchise is so deeply uninterested in her as anything other than a plot device or cheap motivation for Sora. Here in KH1, where our girl hasn't had her personality slowly stolen away from her just yet, she's way sassier than Sora.
Couldn't breathe, I couldn't. Ow.
Are you still dreaming?
She's basically the brains of this trio, making the list of provisions for their raft to leave the islands, and even making a cute little good luck charm made out of seashells. These three's interest in other worlds actually stems from Kairi. See, while Sora and Riku were born here on the islands, Kairi actually appeared one night when they were kids during a meteor shower, and was apparently adopted by the mayor. Wait, they have a mayor? She doesn't remember where she's from, but her arrival sparked Sora and especially Riku's interest in what else is out there.
Say, Kairi, what was your hometown like? You know, where you grew up?
I've told you before. I don't remember.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
You ever want to go back?
Well, I'm happy here.
Really?
But you know, I wouldn't mind going to see it.
Sadly, while we will get answers as to where she is from, the series doesn't explore her origins nearly enough, nor her feeling about her homeworld and those she left behind. So, That's great. And Kairi never really gets to take an active role or have any important arcs like Sora and Riku do, sadly. She doesn't even become playable until DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. Mind you, that came out in 2019, and this, the first entry, came out in 2002. I guess feminism just hadn't been invented yet. What I am saying is, in another timeline, or world line or whatever, Kairi was the main character of Kingdom Hearts. And I wish to live in that timeline, please. Or at least one where she was allowed to do as much as the boys in her trio, god damn it. So outside of beating up other children on the beach to assert your coolness, you spend both days on Destiny Islands gathering supplies for the raft. I'm entirely certain that had we been able to set sail into the sea, we would have died horrible deaths within 48 hours. While getting one of the mushrooms from the secret cave, don't ask, Sora recalls him and baby Kairi drawing on the walls, and decides to add him giving her a Palpu fruit to their illustrations. Naturally, it is at this point where Sora is harassed by a weird man in a giant potato sack.
What? Who's there?
I've come to see the door to this world.
Huh?
He mumbles on and on about other worlds and darkness and ooh, spooky vibes. But we must listen because it's voiced by Billy Zane. What are we gonna do, ignore Billy Zane in a cave? Absolutely not. So instead of running for our lives, Sora decides to debate this potential madman, making me want to pull my hair out.
This world has been connected, tied to the darkness. Soon to be completely eclipsed. You do not yet know what lies beyond the door.
So you're from another world.
There is so very much to learn. You understand so little.
Yeah? Well, you'll see. I'm gonna get out and learn what's out there.
A meaningless effort. One who knows nothing can understand nothing.
Sora suspects this has something to do with the glowing door in the cave. Yes, there has always been a glowing locked door in this cave since these characters were little, and no one's been able to open it. Yes, it will open, and yes, it will ruin all of our lives. Anyhow, turns out the kids are right. There are other worlds, and they're kinda in crisis at the moment. Monsters, known as the Heartless, have been laying siege to the many worlds, flooding them with darkness until they vanish from the night sky. They do this by searching for and infiltrating the cores of each world, which are protected by keyholes. These keyholes can be locked to keep the Heartless out by wielders of the mystical Keyblade. You know, the big fucking house key that you see in all the merch and stuff. You know, the big replica ones that people have that you could like knock somebody out with, that thing. And so King Mickey has left his realm in order to investigate the crisis. That would be such a wild sentence for me to say had I not had like several decades to process that this is a thing. I'm sorry, you're surprised that Mr. Michael Mouse is a king? That Disney property is governed through an absolute monarchy? Get real, sis. Anyhow, Mickey has left instructions for Donaldo and Goofinius to go out and find this Keyblade wielder.
Please, help the king.
Why these two? Well, Donald here is the castle's royal magician, while Goofy is the captain of the Royal Knights.
Wake up, Goofy! Wake up! This is serious!
All of these accolades, and yet we're erasing the fact that Goofy is a father. A single dad, making it work, doing his best. Disgusting. I hope that Goofy joins the brooms in the revolution and guillotines His Majesty Ricky Rat. Wait, what if Goofy is actually hiding his son's existence from everyone because his son is actually the product of he and Queen Minnie's affair?
One morning, Mickey looks out the window and sees that someone has written in the snow with P, Mickey's socks. The bad news is that it's Goofy's urine. But the worst news is that it's Minnie's handwriting.
So anyway, this dunderhead duo is accompanied by Jiminy Cricket, who acts as the chronicler for this journey, whomst we will mostly ignore.
Gosh, Jiminy, your world disappeared too?
It was terrible. We were scattered. And as far as I can see, I'm the only one who made it to this castle.
As well as Pluto, who actually managed to stow away onto the ship, and who later goes missing, not that anybody seems to care. I am honestly shocked that Pluto hasn't gotten his own mobile side game following his incredibly plot-relevant misadventures. You know, 358 dog days over 2 or something? I don't know. Back on the Destiny Islands, the night before the kids are supposed to set sail, the gates of hell open wide. A storm hits. But you know, a plot storm, complete with a giant sphere of nightmare energy up in the sky. Sora decides to abandon his faceless mother the fandom still worries about to this day, and head over to investigate.
Sora! Dinner's ready! Come on down! Sora?
Upon arriving, Sora is confronted by hordes upon hordes of Shadow Heartless, and now it seems Sora's dream was actually a premonition. Sadly, it seems like a wooden sword can't really do anything against these things, and so you just kind of have to run away like a loser, eventually coming across Riku. Riku seems quite eager about the end of the world, hoping to use it to springboard himself into the worlds beyond the islands. Asshole.
The door is open, Sora. Now we can go to the outside world.
What are you talking about? We gotta find Kairi.
Kairi's coming with us. Once we step through, we might not be able to come back. We may never see our parents again. There's no turning back. But this may be our only chance. We can't let fear stop us. I'm not afraid of the darkness.
Riku.
He allows the darkness to consume him, and as Sora tries to save him, he disappears. But not before the Keyblade appears in Sora's hand. Now, you can crush the shadows like bugs. Kairi, meanwhile, ain't doing too good. She's in front of the weird cave door, and as it opens, she flies into Sora before vanishing.
Kairi!
Sora...
Before we can figure out what just happened, we're forced to fight the leader of the shadows from our nightmares, the dark side.
Hello there.
After defeating the bed-headed menace, Sora is swept up into the storm's heart, winding up in another world, Traverse Town. Traverse Town, like Destiny Islands, is another original world. A cozy little town under a perpetual night sky where an invisible smooth jazz band serenades your welcome. When worlds fall to darkness, those who survive wind up here, making Traverse Town a sort of haven for refugees across the universe. Design-wise, I adore this place. It's a bit confusing when you first arrive, but as you get to know all the nooks and crannies of this place, all the little ways each area is secretly connected, it makes Traverse Town feel far more expansive than it actually is. I do wish we got to see more of the people who live here, specifically some more Disney characters who've lost their worlds. So as Sora, you're kinda just left to wander a bit. Of course, Donald and Goofy arrive as well, so your gut instinct is to try and meet up with them. Not that the game will let you, mocking you like you are in a more annoying version of a Scooby-Doo hallway chase.
Donald, you know, I bet you that,
what do you know, you big coyote?
What do I know?
Anyhow, Pluto briefly crushes your ribs before vanishing forever.
What a dream.
And then you meet Sid of Final Fantasy fame, or so I'm told, who runs the local accessory shop. He fills you in, offering to look after you while you look for Riku and Kairi. Unfortunately, the Heartless are here too, even killing someone right in front of Sora and stealing their heart. You know, just gotta make sure the boy is traumatized enough so he knows what he's in for. After enough wandering, you're confronted by another FF cameo, Leon.
They'll come at you out of nowhere, and they'll keep on coming at you, as long as you continue to wield the Keyblade. But why? Why would it choose a kid like you?
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
Let's see that Keyblade.
What? There's no way you're getting this.
All right. Then have it your way.
Yes, I know, this is Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, Squall Leonhardt. Oh, I see, Leonhardt, Lionheart, okay, For some reason in Kingdom Hearts, he goes by Leon, presumably out of shame for not being able to save his homeworld or whatever. Okay, sure.
I think you might have overdone it, Squall.
That's Leon.
Point is, as somebody who was introduced to these characters through Kingdom Hearts, I grew up knowing him as Leon, so I'm just gonna call him Leon. Get the fuck over it. Leon can either kick your ass or let you win narrowly, but either way, you pass out from exhaustion.
Now you're gonna...
Then later wake up in an apartment with him and Yuffie. Donald and Goofy, meanwhile, are searching for Leon, and are approached instead by Aerith.
I'm not scared.
Excuse me, did the king send you?
Ladies and gentlemen, her.
We cut between both groups as we learn a bit more about the current crisis, that the Keyblade, as a mysterious weapon able to stop the Heartless, actually draws them to its wielder. Oh, also that it can, seal any lock or unlock any lock. Cool. Alright.
Why don't you start making sense?
When the Heartless came, everything changed.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
The Heartless?
Those without hearts.
The darkness in people's hearts. That's what attracts them.
And there is darkness within every heart.
We also learned that the Heartless were studied by a renowned researcher named Ansem the Wise, who inexplicably disappeared when his world fell to darkness. Later on, we learned that Leon and co. were also from Ansem's world, which was conquered by Maleficent.
Ladies and gentlemen, her.
Yes, that Maleficent, the baddest bitch of the Disney villains. More on her later. Confronting the Heartless, Sora, Donald, and Goofy meet in a truly chaotic moment. Rather explosive, you could say.
Gosh, are these the Heartless guys?
Let's go get him, Goofy!
And after a quick boss fight, the trio is formed, ready to head off to find King Mickey, Riku, and Kairi and stop the Heartless.
Name's Goofy.
I'm Sora.
All for one, one for all.
Of course, Donald, being a dickhead, doesn't really give a fuck about Sora beyond the Keyblade, so,
Hey, why don't you come with us? We can go to other worlds on our vessel.
I wonder if I could find Riku and Kairi.
Of course.
Are you sure?
Who knows? But we need them to come with us to help us find the king.
Oh, and of course, some good old Disney hazing.
But you can't come along looking like that. Understand? No frowning, no sad face, okay?
Yeah, you gotta look funny, like us. Whoa.
This boat runs on happy faces.
Happy?
That's one funny face.
I wonder if Disney employees are forced to do this kind of emotional labor. I mean, they already have to call themselves fucking Imagineers, Jesus. Or cast members, good lord. Does being a cast member come with health insurance? Why am I asking? Like, even if it is, it's American healthcare. It's dog shit. No offense, Goofy. But it's not just the Heartless that we're up against. No. The creatures are being led by a council of Disney villains, all working together to plunge the worlds into darkness because, hello, we're Disney villains, we're evil, we're fabulous, and we look amazing. And God, they picked such an iconic roster. I live for it.
That little squirt took down that Heartless. Who'd have thought it?
Such is the power of the Keyblade. The child's strength is not his own.
Why don't we turn him into a Heartless? That'll settle things quick enough.
And the brat's friends are the king's lackeys. Swallow the eyes, They're all bilge rats by the look of them.
You're no prize yourself.
Shut up!
They're all kept in shadow, but if you know the movies, silhouettes, and voices, you know who they are, or you probably even just know from cultural osmosis. Jafar from Aladdin, Ursula from The Little Mermaid, Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas, yes, that's a Disney thing, Captain Hook from Peter Pan, Hades from Hercules, and their leader, Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty.
Enough! The Keyblade has chosen him. Will it be he who conquers the darkness? Or will the darkness swallow him? Either way, he could be quite useful.
Just, yes, picking mostly 90s Renaissance villains, excellent choice. Maleficent is such a good pick for their leader too. Ooh, she's like the favorite Disney villain. She's probably my favorite, honestly. Just, she's such a bad bitch. Cursing a baby because you weren't invited to the baby shower? I mean, like, come on, that is so, that's so bold.
And to show I bear no ill will, I too shall bestow a gift on the child.
Captain Hook and Oogie Boogie are kind of the outliers here since, you know, Hook's not a 90s Renaissance villain, and Oogie Boogie is, you know, very tangential because Nightmare Before Christmas. But I do feel like they round out the little council quite well. Oh, and to make matters personal, Riku seems to have arrived at their base calling out for Sora, only to be approached by Maleficent herself. I'm sure this won't end badly. Now, before we go on to the many, many Disney worlds we're about to venture to, let's talk gameplay. Kingdom Hearts is the origin for my love of action platformers and button mashing. However, while you can mash X to win a lot of the game, the combat is more intricately designed than it gets credit for, depending on the entry, of course. Given this was Square's first attempt, it's a bit rough around the edges and feels a bit dated in its slowness, but still feels satisfying for the most part. And honestly, if you try to just button mash on the higher difficulties like Proud or Especially Critical, your ass is grass, you're getting slaughtered. Oh, also, since Kingdom Hearts began as a PlayStation exclusive, and I grew up with it as a PlayStation exclusive, I'm just gonna refer to the PlayStation button layout out of habit. Just roll with it. Beyond your basic movement controls, yes, circle is the jump button, get over it, the command menu serves as your way of controlling Sora. Your first thought might be, wait, if it's real time, why the fuck am I expected to navigate this turn-based style menu in the heat of battle? To which I say, in the words of Hornet, get good. Get good! So you've got 4 options here. First is the default option, attack. You hit things with your big key sword. Simple. The combat is primarily based on you using these attacks to string combos together, with Sora adjusting attacks based on whether he's on the ground or in the air. You can further alter combos through certain abilities, whether it be increasing the damage you deal to enemies, increasing the number of moves you can string in a combo, or even adding flashy moves and finishers to your combo. Second option, magic. Each spell pulled from the Final Fantasy series is an elemental move designed for different scenarios. Fire lets off a single fireball that seeks your target. Blizzard is a wide-affecting shotgun spell. Thunder brings down several lightning bolts around your target. Cure heals you. Duh. Zero gravity deals a certain amount of damage relative to your target's HP. I hear that's a godsend on the higher difficulties. Arrow halves the damage you receive, also a godsend. And stop stops things. Initially, you might think spells are for loser nerds and stick mostly with combos. But trust me, magic can be a game changer if you learn to use the right spell in the right place. Not to mention they're pretty handy in environmental puzzles, be it opening a door with a fireball, lowering floating chests with zero gravity, or bringing power to a set of wires through a quick thunder. Magic, however, is not free. It relies on the MP bar, with spells costing either 1 or 2 units. You can restore your MP with items, like ethers, by grabbing little bubbles that enemies drop, or by attacking enemies with your combos to try and bring the MP meter back up. It's a nice way to make sure you're thinking carefully about how and when you use your magic, rather than using it exclusively to cheese fights. Which, I mean, you can still cheese fights with them, but you know, cheese cleverly. Items, third in the command menu, are exactly as they sound. Potions that restore your health, ethers that restore your MP, and elixirs that restore both. Simple enough, and a definite lifesaver before you get Cure. At the very bottom of the command menu are summons. where they belong. We'll get into the specific summons abilities later on, but these also rely on the MP bar. Now, in the original KH1, summons were actually buried at the bottom of the magic submenu. Unwieldy as fuck, but at least it was for something no one cared about anyway. But with the HD collections, summons got the bottom slot instead. So what was in the bottom slot in the original then? Well, those were your context-sensitive commands. Your reaction commands, if you will. If you approach a character and want to talk, you'd have to scroll to the bottom of the menu and press X. Same for interacting with the environment, same for special attacks called limits, like Sonic Blade, Strike Raid, Ars Arcanum, and Ragnarok, all of which also use MP. But Kingdom Hearts 2 realized that it probably wasn't a good idea to bury split-second prompts at the bottom of the command menu, and instead gave context prompts the triangle button, enshrining them as the ever-beloved reaction command system. When the HD collections rolled out, KH1 took this approach as well, and thank God they did. Now, KH1 is special, for one in that you get experience points from bosses. Why did that stop being a thing in later games? Like, what the fuck? But more importantly, it implemented a system called tech points. Say you deflect an enemy attack, or you hit their weak point, or you use a spell that they're vulnerable to. For your tactical thinking, you are rewarded with tech points, which are basically extra experience points. It rewards you for fighting smarter instead of simply hitting things until they die. I can only assume these were removed because they were probably a bitch to program, which while I do understand, I will forever mourn them. Abilities, along with the aforementioned combo modifiers, can also grant you certain perks in battle. For instance, Leaf Bracer, which allows you to use and finish Cure even if you get hit mid-spell, or Second Chance, which protects you from an attack which would have otherwise killed you, instead leaving you with 1 HP, allowing you to heal before your imminent demise. There's no using them all though, since you only have so many ability points. Shared abilities, though, don't require AP or ability points, and usually are for fundamental movement abilities across your whole party. Things like high jump, glide, super glide. Oh yeah, I guess that also brings us to party. So you always play as Sora and can have 2 additional party members. For most of the game, that's going to be Donald and Goofy, and for certain worlds you can swap one of them out for another character exclusive to that world. And they're kinda useless, yeah. Goofy tries at least, but Donald's defense is so bad, he gets killed faster than your hope in 2026.
That's the best you can do?
However, I usually tend to keep Donald and Goofy in my party since you need both of them to activate things like Trinity Marks across environments, which unlock certain areas across the worlds. You can alter their behavior in the customize menu if you would like, but keep your faith in them to a minimum, just to be safe. For our Disney worlds, we've got 9 films to work from. Alice in Wonderland, Hercules, Tarzan, Aladdin, Pinocchio, The Little Mermaid, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Peter Pan, and Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, that last one is more a film series, but just work with me here. Naturally, we've got more cameos from other films, but those 9 are the important ones. And might I say, excellent choices here. A well-rounded assortment of iconic, beloved properties with diverse aesthetics to craft into entire levels. How well did they succeed? So after leaving Traverse Town, you get access to the world map and the Gummi ship. The act of travel between worlds is quite boring. It's basically just an on-rail shooter moving at a snail's pace. You can upgrade your Gummi ship to go faster and use bigger guns, but look at these fucking menus. I ain't touching all that. Usually I just slap a bunch of gummies to make myself go faster and give myself more health and I call it a fucking day. Thankfully, after the first group of worlds, you get a warp drive function to fast travel to worlds you've already visited. Thank God. The routine is simple. Visit a world, meet the cast, and do our various shenanigans and fight some Heartless, kill a boss, and seal the keyhole. In KH1, worlds are less retellings of their films and more original stories crafted around the trio, as well as our big bad Disney villain council when it applies. And while these stories are oftentimes underwhelming, I do still appreciate the effort that went into keeping things fresh. If I wanted to see the movies, I would just go watch the movies. And if I wanted to watch worse versions of them, I would just go watch their live action counterparts. Thank you very much. In certain worlds, Disney protagonists will join your party, but they cannot leave their own world.
You mean while we're in other worlds, we can't let on where we're from, huh? We gotta protect the world border.
We should help her out.
Yeah, but
We're outsiders, so wouldn't that be muddling?
In universe, it's to maintain order, but the real reason is that I'm pretty sure that even back then, Disney was super protective of their IPs, and I would imagine that those executives didn't want too much crossing over. God forbid Jack Skellington become a mermaid and Ariel's bestie. Whatever would we tell the church? Unlike later games, KH1 doesn't give you a little objective bar telling you what to do next. They expect you to be, you know, awake, alert, attentive to context clues. Nomura actually brags about this in a behind-the-scenes video from the run-up to KH1, where he talks about telling players to talk to certain characters to figure out where to go if they ever get lost. Personally, while I think that is iconic, you're still gonna wind up confused without a goddamn guide, even if you are paying attention. So no shame in Googling, my friend. And don't worry, later games will give in to the brain rot in more ways than one. Now, let's start with the first Disney world that the game tries to guide you to, Wonderland. The eponymous Alice is on trial for allegedly trying to steal the Queen of Hearts' heart.
For the crimes of assault and attempted theft of my heart. This girl is the culprit. There's no doubt about it. And the reason is because I say so, that's why.
That is so unfair.
I know, I thought the Queen was heartless too. No, not that kind. Although, well, anyway, we've got to find pieces of evidence scattered across the world to prove Alice's innocence, pointing instead to the heartless as the real culprits. It's a fine enough idea and forces you to explore and get acquainted with Wonderland's layout before it goes all topsy-turvy. It makes sense to use the trial as the focal point since that's the most iconic and recognizable part of the film, but there's not much here though. It's basically just the bizarre room, you know, the room with the doorknob, the Lotus Forest, and a school play version of the Queen of Hearts castle. No, for real, look at this. These rooms are all literal boxes with visible corners. I can't tell if that's cheap or true to the original zaniness. The bizarre room is kinda cool though, since you can enter it from multiple angles, be it the ceiling or one of the walls. They don't do much with the growing and shrinking mechanic though. You get to push a bed in the bizarre room to open up a door to the Queen's castle while small, and in the Lotus Forest, you grow big to move a couple things around to make traversal easier while shrunken. It's something, I guess. Unfortunately, Alice gets kidnapped while we fight the card soldiers, presumably by the Heartless. A bit of investigating leads us to the Trickmaster Heartless boss, along with sealing the keyhole found within the literal doorknob. Clever game, very clever, but also very weird. I guess the doorknob doesn't have a gag reflex. Do with that what you will.
I find that disturbing on so many levels.
But why was Alice kidnapped? I pretend that you're asking. More on that later. Next up, Deep Jungle based on Tarzan. This one everyone hates. Given this is a 3D game, the devs wanted to make traversing the worlds a bit more fun, which resulted in an attempt to add some platforming elements. And they suck. Sora's jumping in KH1, especially without high jump, doesn't get you very far and feels too lethargic and slippery for satisfying, snappy platforming. And it is most definitely not precise, Jesus Lord. Maybe his giant clown shoes are actually moon shoes that defy gravity. This poses an issue in many of the worlds, most especially Deep Jungle, where you're expected to jump across the backs of hippos, treetops, and even between vines up in the canopy. Thank God there's no fall damage, because if there was, let's just say I would have died more times from falls here than I probably would have from all the bosses across both Hollow Knight and Silksong. Though the piss poor platforming is only half the problem. More on that in a bit. You initially get separated from Donald and Goofy when you arrive, since Donald thinks visiting here would be a waste of time, while Sora wants to make sure whether Riku and Kairi are here. They fight over the Gummi ship controls, and Sora again thanks the gods for his lack of fall damage as he crashes into the earth.
Whoa!
You then fight Sabor the tiger, yes the tiger has a name, meet Tarzan,
Not sure I understand.
And almost instantly get reunited with Donald and Goofy.
Sora! Goofy! Donald!
Yeah, there's not much of an arc here. Sora and Donald don't really get to beef much outside of a couple cutscene moments.
Right! My friends! There's two of them. The loud one is Donald.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Never mind. I'm looking for my friends Riku and Kairi.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So there's not much sense in them learning to overcome their differences and resolve their conflict. They're just kind of petty, and then they make up because Goofy threatened their lives and families if they didn't.
Sorry about what I said.
I'm sorry too.
Yeah, all for one, huh?
If you don't take your hands off me in the next 2 seconds, you won't have hands.
Sure, it'd be kind of hard to reinforce that conflict through this kind of gameplay, but I think the cutscenes could have done a better job communicating their arc. The whole story of this world feels quite underbaked. You go to meet Jane and Clayton at their campsite, then go back up through the vines to the treehouse to meet the gorillas, only for Clayton to try and kill them. I do like the detail that this world is heartless free until Clayton becomes infuriated with the group and resolves to hunt down the gorillas regardless. The villains later confirm that, but it's his darkness that draws in the heartless, whereas the lack of people meant there was also a lack of them beforehand.
What drew the heartless to that world?
The hunter lured them there. It was his lust for power that was the bait.
We then save some gorillas across the world from Heartless, kill Sabor for good, and then Jane and Turk from even more Heartless, before finally facing off with Clayton and his new pet chameleon. This boss is a bitch, but I just find it hilarious that they let Clayton wield an entire ass shotgun and shoot Sora in the face with it.
So we gotta do that every time we die, which is fucking awesome.
Several times. Imagine being 14 and being able to just shrug off a goddamn shotgun blast. That is the power of God in anime right there. Anyhow, Clayton dies, the gorillas are saved, and the keyhole is sealed.
Means heart. Friends in our hearts.
Clayton, lose heart. No heart. No see friends. No heart. No friends.
Bada bing, bada boom, we're done. Let's get the fuck out of here, please. Last in our first group of worlds is Olympus Coliseum from Hercules. Sora wants to enter the tournament.
I gotta spruce this place up for the games.
But Phil calls him a wimpy little loser with weak nerd arms and sends him away.
You've got heroes standing right in front of you.
Yup, he's a real hero chosen by the Keyblade.
And we're heroes too.
Hero? That grunt? 2 words. You guys ain't heroes.
Come on.
Hades then offers some sundials. I mean, a pass to enter the games.
Get a load of this.
A pass?
It's all yours. Good luck, kid. I'm pulling for you, little shorty.
Of course, Hades is just using this as a way to indirectly eliminate Sora and also Hercules. So, you know Cloud? You know, that Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, like the Final Fantasy? Yeah, he's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, her.
Except from my culturally osmosis-induced knowledge, he's far more emo and edgy than usual.
That little punk is your next opponent, okay? Now don't blow it. Just take him out.
The great god of the underworld is afraid of a kid? Sorry, but my contract says...
I know! You think I don't know? I wrote the contract! I know it says you're only required to kill Hercules in this tournament. But you gotta fight that kid to get to him.
I'm looking for someone. Hades promised to help. I tried to exploit the power of darkness, but it backfired. I fell into darkness, and I couldn't find the light.
You know, that's a surprise tool to hurt ourselves with later. And by later, I mean in Cage too. So anyway, we throw some barrels, fight some Heartless, then fight Cloud. Win or lose, Hades is unhappy with Cloud's performance, and so sicks Cerberus on all of us. Hercules steps in to save the day, but Sora and co need to make it clear who the real heroes of this game are.
I still can't believe that Squirt actually beat Cerberus.
Just between us, I'd already worn Cerberus down by the time the little guy jumped in.
I am gonna kill him!
Once the Underworld's bestest boys are dealt with, you don't actually seal the keyhole. Just leave. The reason this world's visit is quite short and why it's rather small, it's basically just the Coliseum, is largely because you can come back here throughout the course of the game to enter new tournaments. You'll fight waves of Heartless, Final Fantasy characters, Hades, a couple of the Titans, and the now literally one-winged angel.
Ladies and gentlemen, her.
I must say, using Hercules as the basis for a tournament world was kind of a stroke of genius. It fits in perfectly with the property and helps add a bit of extra challenge for the hardcore girlies and extra content that we all welcome. Now, you might have noticed through these first few worlds so far that even as original stories designed for Kingdom Hearts specifically, each world features a very stripped back version of its respective movie's cast. No Megara, no Jane's father or Tantor the elephant, no Caterpillar, no Mad Hatter, nor March Hare to be seen. I would assume this is to keep each world as streamlined as possible to make development more manageable, and to keep the worlds from becoming too bloated. Don't worry, Megstand, she'll be here soon. Technically, the Hatter and Hare do show up as little portraits. You can sit at different chairs at their empty tea party, receiving either rewards or Heartless waves in return. It's cute enough, I suppose, but it does feel weird to reduce two of the most iconic members of that movie's cast to mere portraits. And in general, while I do appreciate the original stories of each world, the cutscenes feel awkward. There's just something lacking with all of the characters, specifically anybody who's not Sora, Donald, and Goofy. They all act like really watered down versions of their original counterparts, especially the Disney characters, some more so than others. It's especially strange because everyone has been adapted from 2D into 3D so well, it's insane. I can't believe they pulled this off in 2002. And a lot of that goes to the animators at Square actually studying the original movies very closely to learn the mannerisms and movements of each character so they could more faithfully translate them into 3D. So visually, everything is good, but, you know, writing-wise, I don't think that seems to be the case. It just kind of seems like the writing took the backseat here. It's very strange. It's especially strange because the character writing in this regard does trend a little bit better, specifically in Cage 2, even though the structure is arguably worse than it is in 1. It's very weird. It's very strange. Perhaps we have no better example than our next world. Aladdin's world, Agrabah, serves as the midpoint of our journey. It is here, now that we've gotten a handle of our basics, that the stakes are raised as we begin encountering the Disney Villain Council head-on. In fact, the world begins with Jafar and Maleficent waltzing through town discussing their evil plans to find both the keyhole and Princess Jasmine.
But why worry about Princess Jasmine? With her or without her, surely this world will be ours when we find the keyhole.
We need all 7 princesses of heart to open the final door. Any fewer is useless. Don't steep yourself in darkness too long. The heartless consume the careless.
Your concern is touching, but hardly necessary.
Jasmine isn't hiding, and we run into her shortly after being dropped into Agrabah with no direction. Oh god, it's heartless. I especially don't appreciate that the camera points at Sora instead of the enemies immediately trying to rip off our faces. So Jasmine is looking for Aladdin, who we go to search for after Jafar splits us up. So it would seem that Jafar has already used the Heartless to take over Agrabah, hence why the city is empty save for all the Heartless, and Jasmine's on the run. Immediately, stakes are up. I'm kind of living for it, even though it means the city is really bare bones and awkward and whatever. Per Jasmine's request, we go to find Aladdin, who is in a sandpit out in the desert. I'm assuming he was escaping from the Cave of Wonders. Whatever, okay, and what parts of the original movie are still here? Girl, I don't know. Anyhow, Aladdin has the genie's lamp, and y'all know the rules.
Any 3 wishes! Oh, 1 wish, a 2 wish, a 3 wish. Then I make like a banana and spin it.
Originally, Aladdin used the wishes to impress Jasmine. Here, they are far dumber, because we gotta burn through those wishes in like 1 world. First wish, get rid of a single wave of Heartless.
Genie, get rid of these guys! Wish number 1 coming right up!
Maybe this is petty, but I'm like, you couldn't wish for all Heartless to go away forever. I don't know, maybe there could be a rule that the genie can't affect the rules of the universe or anything outside his own world. I don't know, I'm just like, you wish that a single group of Heartless would go, okay, alright. Second wish, save Jasmine. And that attempt fails when Jafar's bird Iago swipes the lamp from Aladdin.
Genie, help Jasmine, please. 1 wish left. You're making this really easy, you know?
So sorry, boy. I'm afraid your second wish has been denied.
Huh? I'm sorry, Al.
Good job, buddy. As you can tell, Aladdin's arc of learning to be his authentic self is gone. That tends to go for most of the Disney protagonists, having their arcs either removed or watered down in favor of keeping the plots of their worlds simpler and plot-centric. It's understandable, but not particularly enjoyable. Anyhow, after a quick fight with the pot centipede, don't ask, we go to fight the Cave of Wonders, and after blinding that son of a bitch, head inside after Jafar. With a bit of exploration between upper and lower levels, we gain access to the chamber leading to Agrabah's keyhole, where Maleficent disses us without even uttering a word.
Wait a second, are you Maleficent?
God, what an icon. Simply exiting a conversation she doesn't want to have, just without an excuse, like, oh my god, I wish that was me. Before we beat the ever-loving shit out of Jafar, he exposits to us that the Disney villain's goal is to gather the 7 princesses of heart, who, when brought together, will open the door.
You see, she's a princess. One of 7 who somehow hold the key to opening the door.
Open?
The door.
The games.
Open?
Did you listen to a word I said?
What is the door? Well, recalling the weird cave door from Destiny Islands, it surely cannot be a door leading to anything good. Jafar, wanting to pretend that he matters, is a two-phased boss. You don't fight him directly in his genie form though. Instead, you attack his lamp as Iago carries it around the arena, which is a cute nod to the movie, I must admit. Unfortunately, while we're busy fighting, Jasmine gets kidnapped. Again. Yeah, Jasmine didn't really get to do much here aside from being a plot device, which feels especially egregious given how she tends to be considered one of the more proactive, spirited Disney princesses. At least Aladdin got to be an active character even if he was a fucking dumbass. Sadly, the rest of the princesses of heart won't fare much better. How the hell did Jane from Tarzan show off more personality than fucking Jasmine? How?
You are not to go near the gorillas again.
Oh, remember Alice also? Yeah, she's a princess of heart too. And she, Snow White, Cinderella, and Aurora are already being held by the villains. Who are the last two? Patience, my child. Patience. Before we leave, Aladdin sets Genie free. And now, Genie can help us on our journey as a summon we will never use. Yay. All in all, I see the vision for Agrabah as a world, but dear God, the execution was dull and underwhelming. Really, I feel like Agrabah is kind of the epitome of the KH1 worlds, where it's like really interesting ideas. They're woven quite well into the overall story for the most part, but the characters just feel so lifeless. And even though the structure is well thought out, the plots feel very paint by the numbers. Especially having seen most of these movies and really enjoyed most of them, I personally feel slighted. Next up, Am I saying next step too much? You know, it's like H-Bomber guy realizing that he says, it turns out, and then me realizing that I also say it turns out, and then saying it turns sideways, or it turns inwards, or it turns upside down to try and compensate with the fact that I have crippling imposter syndrome and think I'm a hack every single day of my life. Oh god, let's talk about the whale now. This world, you don't actually see on the world map initially. Well, I mean, they're all like mysteries till you get there, which I think it was actually a really cute approach initially, but I mean, like, you know, it's not a dot on the whatever. It's Monstro, who shows up mid-Gummi ship segment and eats us. As our lives flash before our eyes, we, the audience, flash back to baby Sora and Riku talking about getting off their island and referencing a new girl who showed up during a meteor shower. Why are we seeing this now? You know the drill. It's a surprise tool that'll hurt us later. Anyhow, we find that Pinocchio and his father Geppetto have also been eaten by Monstro. We've actually run into Pinocchio earlier on in Traverse Town, presumably stealing items from Sid's shop. I'm not really sure how Pinocchio was able to get from there into space to be eaten by Monstro, but who knows? I'm not even sure why Monstro is able to just float through space. Maybe just, I don't know, through sheer willpower and anger. I mean, just look at him. He's like the most pissed off whale ever. Like, most whales are just known as like these peaceful, cute creatures. And then there's Monstro just looking at you like, try and fuck with me and see what happens, bitch. Maybe Pinocchio just stole someone's Gummi ship like a little rebel, who knows? Pinocchio is always getting into mischief like that, then lying about it afterwards, all to learn valuable lessons to try and become a real boy. Because if you're made out of wood, you're not valid, I guess. I don't know. That seems really mean and rude, but okay. So naturally, Pinocchio decides to wander off into Monstro's depths. These are actually original designs, with the game deciding to transform Monstro's stomach into a slimy, multicolor labyrinth, which is a bold choice, I must say. You know, keeps it all funky and cartoonishly believable without being too grotesque. You've got 6 main chambers that link up through different openings, but you don't go from chamber 1 to 2 and so on. Instead, you are left to figure it out by yourself. I know the path by memory, but I'm pretty sure that the correct doors tend to glow green instead of blue. Or is it more turquoise? Oh, whatever. Present also is Riku.
Pinocchio, stop fooling around. This is no time for games.
But Sora, I thought you liked games.
The games!
Or are you too cool to play them now that you have the Keyblade?
Riku? What are you doing here?
Just playing with Pinocchio.
What about Kairi? Did you find her?
Catch us, and maybe I'll tell you what I know.
Oh, come on!
Like Pinocchio, we ran into him earlier in Traverse Town.
There you are. What's going on?
Riku!
Hey, cut it out.
I'm not dreaming this time. Right?
I hope not. Took forever to find you.
And while Sora was super excited, Riku has become jealous that Sora's already found new friends to journey with.
I've been looking for you, and Kairi too, with their help. We've visited so many places and worlds, looking for you.
Really? Well, what do you know? I never would have guessed.
Oh, and guess what? Sora's the Keyblade Master.
Who was it?
What's that mean?
So, this is called a Keyblade?
Huh? Hey, give it back!
Foreshadowing is a narrative device.
So you're coming with us, right? We've got this awesome rocket. Wait till you see it.
No, he can't come.
What?
Forget it.
Oh, come on. He's my friend.
I don't care.
Maleficent has been manipulating Riku with this jealousy to turn Riku against Sora.
You see, it's just as I told you. While you toiled away trying to find your dear friend, he quite simply replaced you with some new companions. Now he values them far more than he does you. You're better off without that wretched boy. Now think no more of him and come with me. I'll help you find what you're searching for. Why do you still care about that boy? He has all but deserted you for the Keyblade and his new companions, after all.
I don't care about him. I was just messing with him a little.
Oh, really? Of course you will. Beware the darkness in your heart. The heartless prey upon it.
Mind your own business.
Which comes to a head here as Riku encourages Pinocchio to keep running away from Sora.
Don't you realize what you're doing?
I was about to ask you the same thing, Sora. You only seem interested in running around and showing off that Keyblade these days. Do you even want to save Kairi?
I do.
We eventually work with Riku to save Pinocchio from the parasite cage Heartless.
Come on!
But Riku didn't do that out of the goodness of his heart. Instead, he's hoping to use Pinocchio, a puppet with no heart who's somehow still alive, to try and help Kairi.
Please, give me back my son.
Sorry, old man. I have some unfinished business with this puppet.
He's no puppet. Pinocchio is my little boy.
He is unusual. Not many puppets have hearts. I'm not sure, but maybe he can help someone who's lost theirs.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about Kairi?
What do you care about her?
Of course, he refuses to explain any of this to Sora, and has his resentment towards Sora reinforced when Sora tries to rescue Pinocchio.
Hey! Let Pinocchio go, Riku!
A puppet that's lost its heart to the heartless. Maybe it holds the key to helping Kairi. How about it, Sora? Let's join forces to save her. We can do it together. What? You'd rather fight me? Over a puppet that has no heart?
Heart or no heart, at least he still has a conscience.
Conscience?
You might not hear it, but right now it's loud and clear. And it's telling me you're on the wrong side!
Then you leave me no choice.
Riku escapes as the parasite cage seeks a rematch, and the ensuing battle causes Monstro to sneeze all of us out. Pinocchio and Geppetto thankfully wind up in Traverse Town, where Leon has taken it upon himself to build a little house for them in like no time at all. You know, goddamn. Impressive, I must say, and very sweet of Leon. He's a real marshmallow, not that he'll ever admit it. Unfortunately, while these two are safe, it seems Riku has been turned against us for good. In fact, we learn shortly thereafter that he is the one who kidnapped Jasmine under Maleficent's orders. So that's great. You know, to my knowledge, I don't think he ever apologized to Jasmine or Aladdin for that. Anyway, next is perhaps the most infamous, hated world in KH1, Atlantica, based on The Little Mermaid.
Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP.
Personally, I have always been an Ariel stan, and I remember child me being so excited to reach this world. In fact, I remember pulling an all-nighter to get here while I was in kindergarten. And maybe that is part of why it's never really bothered me the way it has everybody else. Maybe also that's why I'm mentally ill. The fundamental issue here comes from the swimming controls. Sora, Donald, and Goofy here take on new forms to suit their environment thanks to Donald's magic, and, you know, also to avoid drowning. Sora's not exactly a merman, but more half man, half dolphin, you know, because he has a little dorsal fin. Donald is now half duck, half octopus.
You were an octopus.
And Goofy is a sea turtle. Iconic designs, I must say, especially Goofy's. It's just, I don't know. Goofy is kind of perfect as a turtle. His little shield is on his little shell. It's so fucking cute. But because we now have to deal with the fact that we can move vertically through the water, the game kinda struggles to adjust its movement accordingly. The jump button now lets you swim upwards, while the block button lets you descend. And this means you can no longer block. That's not great in an action game. And it also means most of your combo modifiers like sliding dash no longer apply, which can be an issue when you rely on them to close distance between yourself and enemies. Magic can make this world less of a headache, at least for normal enemies. More on that later. I've experienced far worse controls in other games, but I can understand why this isn't most people's cup of tea. We run into Ariel, Sebastian, and Flounder fleeing from a group of Heartless.
Oh, relax, Sebastian. They don't look like one of them. Right, Flounder?
I don't know. There's something weird about them.
What do you mean?
They do seem a little different. Where are you from?
We're from kind of far away. And we're not really used to these waters.
Once they help us learn to swim, we escort them back to King Triton's palace, and he is pissed.
That was too close. As long as I have my trident, I will not tolerate those creatures inside this palace.
The kingdom is under siege from the Heartless, and Triton's not very happy about Ariel being out and about during the crisis, while Ariel's free spirit refuses to listen. Ariel is much like Sora was back on the Destiny Islands, wanting to see other worlds. The whole becoming human and falling in love with Eric plot has been cut, so the whole world takes place in Atlantica. Again, understandable for this game's story, but I appreciate that we still found a way to tie in Ariel's curiosity and longing to broaden her horizons in with Sora's story, even if not much is done with it, god damn it. The world then gets very confusing. You're supposed to go to this ship graveyard to find a crystal trident relic for Ariel's grotto, but you have to figure that out yourself. How do you get there? Well, you also have to figure that out too, leading many players wishing they could drown themselves out of frustration. Basically, there's this dolphin that swims around Ariel's grotto. Approaching it, you're able to grab onto it as it swims around, which will then trigger it to show up in another environment, which in turn will lead you to the ship graveyard, since the dolphin can swim against the strong current blocking it. I hate this part though, because even if you know what to do, you can only grab onto the dolphin when there are no Heartless around, which is hard when there are so many of them spawning all over both areas. Once you reach the ship and find the crystal trident, you battle the big shark from the movie. They used a real-time fixed camera moment to have it break through the ship's windows, which is so fucking cool. Even if the immersion is broken by the fact that it can't hurt you during this. You bring the crystal trident back to the grotto, only for King Triton to destroy it. An homage to him destroying the Eric statue in the original film.
Ariel, you've disobeyed me again. I told you not to leave the palace.
Daddy, no! How could you?
And yeah, it's way less impactful. One, because we have no emotional attachment to this item, and two, because the presentation is far less impressive than it was in the movie. Ariel swims off all upset, and Triton lectures Sora about the Keyblade.
Young man, you're not from another ocean. You're from another world, aren't you?
Huh?
Then you must be the key bearer.
How did you know?
You may fool Ariel, but you can't fool me. You don't know your dorsal fin from your tail.
This is a moment that low-key lives in my head rent-free, because it's one of the few times a Disney character knows about the universe beyond their own world and about the Keyblade. It does track that Triton himself, being a powerful king based on a god, would know about this, but the main point he makes is how the Keyblade wielder disrupts the peace of the worlds they meddle in. And so Sora, viewing himself as a hero, much like the player would, is now told that he is actually bringing chaos to the worlds that he's trying to help.
As the key bearer, you must already know one must not meddle in the affairs of other worlds.
Of course I know that, but...
You have violated this principle. The key bearer shatters peace and brings ruin.
Oh, Sora's not like that.
I thank you for saving my daughter, but there is no room in my ocean for you or your key.
It's a chance to make Sora reflect on his own behavior and impacts on the people he meets, regardless of his intent. And they abandon this pretty much instantly, which sucks, because in tandem with Riku's points about Sora becoming more focused on the Keyblade than his old friends, I think it really could make Sora more thoughtful about the way he acts, a way to reinforce his story of growing up, which does include learning to take responsibility for the way that your actions impact the people around you. But it also kind of falls flat because there's no real point throughout the game thus far where Sora has made a genuine fuck up. where his meddling has caused irreparable harm to a character that he meets or to the world around him that he's visiting. Like if Triton gave us this lecture and we flash back to something Sora actually like genuinely fucked up, I think that would hit a lot more, and it would reinforce that yes, Sora is a kid and he has a lot to learn and he's gonna fuck up at certain points, and you know, that's okay so long as he, you know, learns from it and, you know, makes it right. After this, Ursula takes advantage of Ariel's pain to trick her into giving her the king's trident, and to where she believes Atlantica's keyhole is hidden.
Let me guess, you wish to see other worlds. That shouldn't be too hard. After all, your new friends came from another world.
What?
But they had special help. That mysterious key.
This has been memed into oblivion for how dumb it is. Like, for some reason, Trident isn't in the palace, and his trident is just floating there, right behind the throne, unguarded, in the open.
I think the keyhole they seek is somewhere in the palace. If you can take me there without your daddy knowing, I can help you get to these other worlds you long for.
And then in the next scene, Triton is inexplicably back in the palace, sitting atop his throne injured, while Ursula flaunts the stolen trident. It's so weirdly written and cut. Like, what happened? Like, did King Triton lecture us and then go back to the palace, drop off his trident, leave it behind the throne, exit the room to, like, I don't know, go get a beer or something, and then Ursula slipped in, swiped the trident, and then Triton walked back in and he's like, oh shit, and Ursula's like, I'm gonna yuck you up, and, you know, injured him or whatever before Goofy could walk in and go, I'm gonna sue you for copyright infringement. No one yucks but me. Anyhow, Ursula mentions taking Ariel to the dark world of the Heartless.
Ursula, no! I didn't want this!
Why not? Aren't you tired of following your dear daddy's orders? Oh, yes. We had a deal, didn't we? Time for a little journey to the dark world of the Heartless.
So I would assume that the Disney villains believe she might have been one of the 7 princesses of Heart, or perhaps a backup. It's never really explained, because later on we see all 7 princesses and Ariel is not one of them. Maybe she's just too proactive of a character to be counted, considering she's the only princess who gets to join our party and fight. Maybe she just fights too much and is too curious about the world to be pure of heart, or something, whatever. Ugh. So it turns upwards and inwards that the keyhole is not here.
The keyhole is not here. What?
So Ursula bails when Sora rocks up. We hunt her down to her lair, hidden behind the ship graveyard, where we have to use magic on her cauldron in order to fight her, as physical attacks will not work on her unless the cauldron backfires and knocks her out. And this sucks.
Come on! You can't run!
Your time has come!
I get the attempt here, and they do have Trident tell you to focus on the cauldron with spells before you head out, but it's so damn tedious to perform.
Thunder! Thunder! Thunder!
Pro tip, stock up on ethers and just stick with thunder so you don't have to constantly aim at the fucking cauldron. Afterwards, Ursula flees again, and we get the mermaid capability to swim against strong currents to catch up with her. It is useful, but it's also a nuisance because of how easy it is to activate by accident. All you gotta do is hit your ascend button or descend button twice, or just press them too hard, and suddenly Sora is just shooting around like he's on a sugar high.
You pathetic! I rule the seas now! The sea and all its spoils bow to my power! Ew!
So we slay giant Ursula, seal the keyhole, and at last we're free of Atlantica. So I would say the swimming controls do kind of ruin this world, as does the piss poor game design of telling you where the fuck to go or just not straight up. I do appreciate the attempt at an original plot here, at least. It at least feels more thought out and satisfying than Agrabah, because at least Ariel, while stupid, doesn't feel as watered down and bland as Aladdin did. I don't know, I feel like with better controls and better like direction, this actually would have been one of the stronger worlds. I don't know, it's still one I enjoy replaying because I'm sick. Our next world is Halloween Town from The Nightmare Before Christmas, except it is just The Nightmare because Christmas is canceled. Yeah, the whole Christmas portion of the movie has been cut in favor of the original story. If you're sad about that, don't worry, we'll be back in Cage 2, and Sora will get to meet Santa Claus. It is exactly as wholesome and adorable as it sounds. Just like Atlantica, we've got some new designs for our trio to help them fit with the spooky aesthetic. Sora is a vampire with cute whittle fangs, tiny bat wings, and a little pumpkin mask over half his face. He's so fucking cute! Goofy is a zombie. Okay, alright. And Donald is a mummy, weirdly with the gauze around his midsection opening to reveal nothing within. I guess he is a mummy, but also an invisible ghost. So Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, is trying to turn the Heartless into his little dancing minions as a way to make next Halloween scarier.
What's this Heartless doing here?
The Heartless came to town just recently. What's frustrating is I can't get them to dance with me.
Personally, I love this angle. The Heartless are an enemy, yes, but their cartoonish designs seem like something that wouldn't be out of place here. Like the people of Halloween Town, you know, if they were actually here, would look at the Heartless and go, "Oh, hello there, new neighbor. Can I offer you a salamander tail and some snacks?" To this end, Dr. Finkelstein, you know, the local mad scientist, is trying to discover what makes a heart, so that way they can fully control the Heartless.
Why, of course. The Heartless need a heart. Doctor, do you think we can add a heart to that device?
Certainly. A heart's not all that complicated.
The ingredients for a heart: pulse, emotion,
terror,
fear, hope, and despair. Mix them all together, and we have a heart.
Ew!
We go out to gather some ingredients for his mad plan, partially to quell the Heartless threat, but also so Sora can see them dance. He is so real for that. This portion of the world is very boring and tedious. You just go out to the cemetery to get something from Sally, then to another cemetery to get something from the mayor, and neither outing is particularly engaging, especially because these are the kind of environments where you have to clear out all the enemies before you can proceed. Of course, Oogie Boogie catches wind of our plan and has his little minions, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, steal the artificial heart.
Ooh, when I get my hands on that, well, I've got no hands, but I'm still gonna nab that heart and control the Heartless.
This pursuit, again, leading us through cemeteries where we have to kill every Heartless before we can move on, leads us to Oogie's Manor. Does it look super cool? Yes. But goddamn, it is a bitch to navigate with these Cage 1 controls and the fucking camera. You know, it makes it hard to appreciate all the work to hide treasure chests across this place. If you fall, the walking bathtub circles the grounds and can take you back up, but like the dolphin in Atlantica, you need to clear out the surrounding Heartless first. After beating up the ugly, rude children, we hit a switch to unlock the door to Oogie's chamber down below.
You want it? Well then come on over and get it! Ah! Now, let's see if I can get their attention. Oh, Heartless! This is it? Nobody disrespects me!
And this boss has a very annoying no-good gimmick. You're stuck on this giant roulette wheel at the center of the room, unable to reach Oogie as he runs around above. The goal is to survive his traps and Heartless waves, and then when the switches start glowing, hit the one corresponding to where Oogie is above, and then attack like a madman. I do appreciate the attempt to incorporate Oogie's love of death traps, especially because a straight-on fight with him doesn't really seem particularly fun. But still, this isn't much fun either. And then, because we need a second phase with a giant version of the boss, Oogie fuses with his house. Okay then. Take out the dark globs across the house, Oogie dies, keyhole sealed, and we out. Much like Agrabah and Atlantica, cool ideas here, very wonky execution. I think a lot of this is owed to the devs trying to figure out how to direct their cutscenes while trying to keep from telling the player outright what to do. But even in cutscenes, the character interactions tend to fall flat outside of select jokes, making the characters come across as undercooked and stale. So even though the Disney worlds in KH1 are directly tied into the main plot, I do wish they shared the stronger character writing we see in KH2. Our last required Disney world is Neverland from Peter Pan, in name only, as this level is restricted to Captain Hook's pirate ship and later on the Big Ben clock tower in London. Apparently the devs worried that the Isle of Neverland itself would be too similar visually to Destiny Islands, and same for London compared to Traverse Town. So they opted to keep it to the pirate ship for the sake of level variety. From a story perspective, it works well enough, and it doesn't really bother me too much. We're ambushed by Hook's ship mid-Gummi ship mission, and discover that not only is Riku working with Captain Hook, but they are also delivering Kairi to Hollow Bastion, where Maleficent resides.
I didn't think you'd come, Sora.
Where are Donald and Goofy?
Are they that important to you? More important than old friends? Instead of worrying about them, you should be asking about her.
Kairi!
That's right. While you were off goofing around, I finally found her.
Kairi, however, seems catatonic, apparently having lost her heart.
So, Kairi's like a lifeless puppet now?
Precisely.
And her heart was...
Taken by the Heartless, no doubt.
Tell me, what can I do?
There are 7 maidens of the purest heart. We call them the Princesses of Heart. Gather them together, and a door will open to the heart of all worlds. Within lies untold wisdom. There you will surely find a way to recover Kairi's heart. Now, I'll grant you a marvelous gift. The power to control the Heartless.
Soon, Kairi. Soon.
Sora drags Riku for filth, and in retaliation, Riku brings Sora's shadow to life before throwing him in the brig.
Why are you siding with the Heartless?
The Heartless obey me now, Sora. Now I have nothing to fear.
You're stupid! Sooner or later they'll swallow your heart!
Not a chance. My heart's too strong. I've picked up a few other tricks as well. Like this, for instance. You can go see your friends now.
You know, this makes me wonder if Sora, Riku, and Kairi ever played pirate as kids. I wonder how emotionally devastating that could be, as foreshadowing for this moment. Peter Pan and Tinkerbell help us escape in exchange for finding Wendy, who has been imprisoned alongside Kairi.
I'm Peter Pan.
I'm Sora.
Okay, we're in this together, but only till we find Wendy.
Once we find Wendy, though, Peter bails with her, leaving us to fend off Sora's shadow and Hook's heartless crew, all while Riku escapes with Kairi. Peter does return to help us when we're forced to walk the plank, though, and Sora and the crew manage to believe in themselves and fly.
So, which will it be? The Keyblade or the plank?
Fly, Sora. Just believe, and you can do it.
It's similar to the swimming controls in Atlantica, but far less annoying, since we still have the option of fighting on the ground. Once Hook is defeated, we head to the clock tower to seal the keyhole, and that's it. Yeah.
I still can't believe it. I really flew. Wait till I tell Kairi. I wonder if she'll believe me. Probably not.
You can bring her to Neverland sometime. Then she can try it herself.
If you believe, you can do anything, right? I'll find Kairi. I know I will. There's so much I want to tell her about flying, the pirates, and everything else that's happened.
For the final plot-relevant Disney world, this one functions well enough. It's mostly meant to solidify Riku as an antagonist and set up our later confrontation. Before that, though, let's talk about some of the other Disney inclusions. Firstly, we have an optional world, the 100-Acre Wood from Winnie the Pooh. Because this one is so uniquely wholesome and whimsical, 100-Acre Wood is presented as a world within a storybook, kept within Merlin's house in Traverse Town. Oh yeah, Merlin's here too. You know, the bearded wizard guy from Sword in the Stone. I'm sure like 2 of you have seen it. Point is, this book has been heavily damaged, with its pages torn out and scattered across the worlds. As you gather the pages back up, more environments in the 100-Acre Wood are restored alongside their inhabitants. It helps to reinforce the damage done by the Heartless that we, as the hero, are meant to repair in order to help people. 100-Acre Wood is primarily full of mini-games rather than combat, which tracks, given regular Heartless encounters here would feel so incredibly out of place. Very tonal whiplash. The mini-games themselves are not fun, like at all. Helping Pooh gather honey by climbing a tree and swinging at bees, protecting Rabbit's carrot grove from Tigger's bouncing, launching Pooh into the stratosphere on a swing set. Okay, that one's fun. That one's fun. Annoying, but fun. Well, minus the part where you have to lure Pooh up to the tree, and if he gets too close to a honey jar, he'll just sit there forever to eat it, and you just sit there wishing you were dead. Bouncing with Tigger and Roo, and finding all the lost characters in a swamp. Most of the issues here come from the clunky controls, especially in the minigames revolving around platforming. The fact that they disable my high jump for the Tigger minigame pisses me off to no end. As such, I've never been a big fan of this world, but I think now that I'm older, the wholesome characters have softened me to it, especially Sora and Pooh's friendship. You know, I'm actually impressed by the way that their connection reflects the struggles of growing up and losing your ties to childhood, along with more specific problems Sora has to deal with in later games. And also the minigames in KH2 are actually peak, so you know, they fixed it, thank God. The aforementioned Merlin hangs out in Traverse Town, helping you to master your magic and summons if you need to get a handle on them. The fairy godmother from Cinderella is here too, granting you various Disney summons, and also to foreshadow Cinderella's being captured, since she mentions their world has fallen to darkness. But, you know, that's only if you know that they're from the same movie. You know, I don't really think the fairy godmother ever mentioned Cinderella, so I guess she's only good for balls rather than apocalypses. The summons themselves are pretty solid choices. Simba from The Lion King, Bambi, Dumbo, and Mushu from Mulan, along with Genie and Tinkerbell once you finish Agrabah and Neverland respectively. I am told that they come in handy for specific situations, but really, I've only ever found Tinkerbell useful since she periodically heals you when summoned. Bambi jumps around and creates little bubbles that restore your MP. The rest of the summons are mostly AoE or magic-based attacks, and you know, take them or leave them, I guess. While I'm not fond of them, Simba and Mushu's inclusions will be relevant for KH2, so write that down. One of my favorite inclusions, though, is the search for the 99 Dalmatian puppies. The Dalmatian parents, Pongo and Perdita, are hanging out in Traverse Town. Apparently, Traverse Town lets dogs rent their own apartments, which I find incredibly progressive and based. However, their puppies have been scattered across the worlds, locked in treasure chests for some reason. I guess they somehow didn't suffocate, thank God. And now we must go find them all conveniently grouped into 3s. You get rewards for every certain number of puppies rescued, and when you return to the apartment, more and more puppies show up. Some of them even chase you! Oh my god, it's so cute! And in the final mix version, which I will explain later, you get a secret boss for finding all 99. The fact that, like, having all the puppies together summons this motherfucker from the depths of the darkness will never not amuse me. You know, I wonder if you know, it just really is hateful of the Dalmatians, and he split them up, and he's really pissed that you reunited them all and wants to slaughter you. I will say I am very sad that it's not Cruella de Vil, though. What I wouldn't give for her to show up in the 2nd district with all 99 health bars trying to run Sora over with her fucking car. I guess it turns out that even Maleficent and the other Disney villains were just too put off by the wannabe puppy skinner.
I only wish to have a coat made out of puppies. What? Why would you do that?
Although how funny would it be if the unknown guy here actually wasn't you-know-who, but it was actually Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil in charge of Organization 13. Hello. And now I'm imagining what all the nobodies of the Disney villains would look like. And now I'm remembering my one friend who pitched that idea actually, and I was like, wait, that sounds cool actually. Why didn't they do that? Before we can head off to Maleficent's hideout, we head back to Travers Town, where Sora has a vision of baby Kyrie and her grandmother in some kind of library. Remember this for later. Kyrie's grandmother tells her voicelessly a fairy tale about how the worlds came to be. Long ago, the worlds were all one, bathed in radiant light. But as people began to fight to keep the light for themselves, darkness spread, separating them until the universe became the many scattered worlds we know today. Fragments of light remain within the pure hearts of children, but the true light remains asleep, locked behind the door to the innermost darkness. It's quite vague, but as a simplified way to explain why the worlds are divided from each other, it works well enough. And I do appreciate how it touches on these selfish, greedy tendencies of adults that wind up destroying an otherwise perfect world. It's, definitely not relevant to the world as we know it. Definitely not whatsoever. But just remember that mention of the light within the door to the innermost darkness for later. That is actually some pretty dope foreshadowing for the end of the game. Once Sid finishes upgrading our Gummi ship, we head out for the penultimate world, Hollow Bastion. Again, it is an original world to Kingdom Hearts. A massive castle in ruins, half of its edifice torn out to reveal steam pipes and colorful circuits, surrounded by mountain cliffs and magical waterfalls that run backwards. This is Leon & Co.'s homeworld, which has been taken over by Maleficent and the Heartless. And in that regard, it's incredibly fitting for the game's final act. The game didn't have to go this hard in creating its own locales, and yet, here we are. The music is especially memorable. Goddamn, Yoko Shimomura popped off. Arriving in Hollow Bastion, we find Riku confronting the Beast. You know, from Beauty and the Beast. No, this isn't the Beast castle transformed. Instead, he and Belle's world fell to darkness, and while Belle has been kidnapped, the Beast's desire to save her allowed him to survive and make it all the way here. Not that Riku much cares.
No vessel, no help from the Heartless. So tell me, how'd you get here?
I simply believed. Nothing more to it. When our world fell into darkness, Belle was taken from me. I vowed I would find her again, no matter what the cost. I believed I would find her. So here I am. She must be here. I will have her back!
Take her if you can.
When we step in, Riku goes ahead and steals the Keyblade, claiming to be its true master instead of Sora.
We've always been rivals, haven't we? You've always pushed me, as I've always pushed you.
Riku!
But it all ends here. There can't be two Keyblade masters.
What are you talking about?
Let the Keyblade choose. Its true master. Maleficent was right. You don't have what it takes to save Kyrie. It's up to me. Only the Keyblade Master can open the secret door and change the world.
But that's impossible. How did this happen? I'm the one who fought my way here with the Keyblade!
You were just the delivery boy.
Yeah, so the Keyblade was actually originally meant to go to Riku, but because he gave into the darkness, it then defaulted to Sora. So we were never actually meant to wield it. And of course, because Donald and Goofy were instructed to follow the Keyblade wielder, and because they are fake bitches, they ditch us and follow Riku, sluts.
Goofy, let's go. We have to remember our mission.
Oh, well, I know the king told us to follow the key and all, but...
Sorry.
Thanks guys, you suck. Can really feel the friendship after all of these hours of saving Disney worlds together. Yeah, I'm sure your king will want you to go work for this guy serving Maleficent, absolutely. I don't see any problems with this, you fucking morons. So now without our Keyblade, we're stuck with the wooden sword we had back in the Destiny Islands prologue. We can't hurt the Heartless physically, but we can still perform magic, and also rely on the beast to attack for us. We head into the waterways beneath the castle, unlock the front gates, and head inside to confront Riku. Here, we get a moment of ultimate cheese. Riku, donning a new outfit to show off his dark powers, mocks Sora for his weakness, but Sora doesn't back down. He's not leaving without Kairi.
Quit while you can.
No, not without Kairi.
The darkness will destroy you.
You're wrong, Riku. The darkness may destroy my body, but it can't touch my heart. My heart will stay with my friends. It'll never die.
Really? Well, we'll just see about that.
Ah!
Sora ain't gonna go anywhere.
You'd betray your king?
Not on your life. But I'm not gonna betray Sora either, cause he's become one of my best buddies after all we've been through together.
And when Riku attacks, Goofy jumps in to protect him, because obviously it's the right thing to do, and it's Goofy, the better half of that duo. Donald gets peer pressured into joining back up with us.
See you later, Donald! Could you tell the king I'm really sorry?
Hold on, Goofy! We'll tie them together! Well, you know, after one and right for all.
I guess you're stuck with us, Sora.
Thanks a lot, Donald, Goofy.
And Sora then gives a speech about how his true power lies in the friendships that he's made with all the people he's met and helped along his journey.
How will you fight without a weapon?
I know now I don't need the Keyblade. I've got a better weapon. My heart.
Your heart? What good will that weak little thing do for you?
Although my heart may be weak, it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends I've made. I've become part of their heart just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
It's cheesy, but goddamn, it still works so well. Because ultimately, friendship is the thing that helps us get through this terrible, terrible, no good, horrible world that we've kind of just been dumped in. It can help us to grow into better people, to experience new things, and build communities that work for the betterment of all rather than just a few. That is to say, Riku is an ass who doesn't care about anybody else, and for that, the Keyblade no longer finds him worthy, returning to Sora so that we might whoop his ass. Yeah, power, friendship, and all that. I understand why this trope gets clowned on, but again, as I get older and I appreciate the friendships that I have more and more, this shit hits different. I feel like it's easy to tell when the trope is sincere versus when it is lazily done because the writer just couldn't be bothered to think of anything else. Maybe it relies too much on subjective emotion for your taste, but for me, it works wonders, especially seeing the devastating real-world effects that a lack of friendship and community have on people's lives. And I also just love this moment, and clearly everybody else does, because it proves where Sora's true strength lies. He's not a hero for being physically strong or a talented fighter. He's chosen by the Keyblade and found worthy of it because he's courageous, he stands his ground even when he believes he has no real power, he does the right thing when his back's up against the wall, and he actually cares about other people and wants to help them, not just the people he knows and cares about, but everybody. You know, so long as they're not an evil fuck. So Riku runs off all upset because we kicked his ass, but he is approached by the same hooded potato sack figure that Sora saw on Destiny Islands. You know, Billy Zane. Billy Zane offers Riku even more power if he dives deeper into dark. I'm sorry, it's so funny saying Billy Zane doing that. It's too funny. Oh my god.
The heart that is strong and true shall win the Keyblade.
You're saying my heart's weaker than his?
For that instant it was. However, you can become stronger. You showed no fear in stepping through the door to darkness. It held no terror for you. Plunge deeper into the darkness, and your heart will grow even stronger.
What should I do?
It's really quite simple. Open yourself to the darkness. That is all. Let your heart, your being, become darkness itself.
So anyway, Riku takes his offer, and I'm sure he won't regret that later. We climb the castle, confronting Maleficent, and also kick her ass.
I'm afraid you're too late. Any moment now, the final keyhole will be unsealed. This world will be plunged into darkness. It is unstoppable.
We'll stop it! After coming this far, there's no way we're gonna let that happen.
You poor, simple fools. You think you can defeat me? Me, the mistress of all evil!
Now, to KH fans, Maleficent is kind of a joke. None of us take her seriously. She is a bad joke. Past this game, she keeps trying to insist that she's relevant, failing to do so time and time and time again. She and her little minion will meet in KH2, essentially become Team Rocket, blasting off again and again and again. But here in KH1, having her lead the Disney villains and pretending to be our big bad was an excellent choice, and she does live up to it even to her final moments. It's just a shame knowing what she's gonna devolve into after this game. Sadly, Maleficent's initial boss fight doesn't really help with her image. She can't exactly hop around attacking us given her design and vibe, so instead she remains on a floating platform, casting spells, summoning Heartless, and hitting us with her staff if we get too close. The goal is to use gravity to force her platform to fall and then strike. It's clever enough, but I can't lie, it's kinda underwhelming. Thankfully, her subsequent boss is far more of a challenge because, yes, this isn't even her final form. Before we can finish the witch off, Riku, now possessed by Billy Zane, intervenes. Riku now wields the Keyblade of People's Hearts. We really need a better name for that. This one can unlock people's hearts, as the name suggests, which Riku demonstrates by unlocking Maleficent's heart to the deeper darkness within, transforming her into her iconic dragon form.
A Keyblade. But unlike yours, this Keyblade holds the power to unlock people's hearts. Allow me to demonstrate. Behold! Now, open your heart. Surrender it to the darkness. Become darkness itself!
This is it. This power. Darkness. The true darkness!
I'm not sure why she needed him to do that for her, because I thought Maleficent could just go dragon on her up. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. In truth, Maleficent isn't our big bad like we thought she was. Or she thought she was.
How ironic. She was just another puppet after all.
What?
The Heartless were using Maleficent from the beginning. She failed to notice the darkness in her heart eating away at her. A fitting end for such a fool.
She's been played by Billy Zane, who turns out to be Ansem. You know, Ansem, the wise, researcher, once ruled all of Bastion, studied the Heartless.
It is I, Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness.
Flashback.
Have you heard of someone named Ansem?
I am Sam?
He was studying the Heartless.
He recorded all of his findings in a very detailed report.
And while this does screw Maleficent and the other Disney villains over in later games, I love this twist within Kingdom Hearts 1 so much. Ansem is a figure mostly built up in the background through mentions of other characters early on and in his secret reports you gather throughout the game. They're kinda so childish and dumb, they give me giggles. Ansem very much gives mad scientist with very bad, very obsessive control issues, willing to sacrifice anyone and everyone to satiate his curiosity, especially now as a Heartless. In that sense, he kinda mirrors Sora, Riku, and Kairi's desire to see other worlds, warping that pure wish into something much darker and much more dangerous. Because ultimately, what is the pursuit of knowledge if not for the betterment of yourself and your fellow man? If you're trying to gather knowledge just to be a dickweed, then, fuck you, bitch. Misusing knowledge. Wan Shi Tong would be so ashamed. Oh god, now I'm imagining Wan Shi Tong, but like letters scrambled with an X. Somebody get on that. Oh my god, Wan Shi Tong in an orc cloak. Oh my god, that movie's so cursed. On the one hand, an Avatar world in Kingdom Hearts would be kind of wild, but also I'm terrified by the idea of Disney owning Avatar. Please no, please god no. Anyway, tangent over. So Ansem has possessed Riku and now plans to capture Kairi's heart and, with all 7 Princesses of Heart, finally open the door to the innermost darkness. But how is he gonna do that if Kairi's body is sitting here all, heartless? Lowercase. Well, you see.
Let Riku go! Give him back his heart!
But first, you must give the princess back her heart.
What's...
Don't you see yet? The princess's heart is responding. It has been there all along. Kairi's heart rests within you.
Kairi's inside me?
When Destiny Islands fell and Kairi vanished into Sora, that was actually her heart leaving her own body and entering Sora's. This whole time, Kairi's heart has been hiding within Sora's, hence why he's kept seeing visions of Kairi across the game. After one of the most traumatizingly infuriating bosses of the series,
open your heart to darkness! Surrender! Open your heart to darkness!
Sora uses Ansem's Keyblade on himself.
It won't work! The keyhole's not finished yet!
What can we do?
Maybe we gotta go wake Kairi up.
I think you're right. If we can free her heart... But how? A keyblade that unlocks people's hearts. I wonder...
Sora? Sora! Hold on!
No, run!
This frees Kairi's heart, reawakening her, but also frees the stolen hearts of the other captive princesses. Unfortunately, this also causes Sora to fade away, his own heart released into the ether. Ansem reveals his true form, only held back by Riku's spirit trying to take back control, while Donald, Goofy, and Kyrie escape. Yeah, the Beast also is just not here. He kind of just vanished during the Riku cutscene, and he's still gone. I can only assume he's just busy staring at Belle's unconscious body over in the waiting room. But Sora's not quite gone. He is now a Heartless, uppercase.
What's happening to me? Falling into darkness.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And because he was such a pure, innocent being who is too good for this world, he has become the lowest form of Heartless, a Shadow. You take control of Shadow, Sora, guiding it to try and catch up with the others. Kyrie recognizes him and actually winds up restoring him back to normal.
This time, I'll protect you. Sora!
Kyrie, thank you.
Sora!
How? I honestly have no clue. You know, I'm guessing Princess of Heart powers that we're never going to elaborate on. Who cares? You know, that may have seemed a bit rushed, but trust me, Sora becoming a Heartless will be very important later. We briefly return to Traverse Town, leaving Kyrie with the Final Fantasy crew before returning, but not before Kyrie gives us our good luck charm as a way to force Sora to promise that he and Riku will return home safely.
You think it'll ever be the same again between us? Riku's lost his...
When I turned into a Heartless, you saved me, remember? I started forgetting things. My friends, who I was. The darkness almost swallowed me. But then I heard a voice. Your voice. You brought me back.
Take this. It's my lucky charm. Be sure to bring it back to me.
Don't worry, I will.
It's so cute, but goddamn, I am still so sad that Kyrie is back and still doesn't get to do anything.
Well, let's go.
You can't go.
Why not?
Because it's way too dangerous.
I can't help?
You'd kind of be in my way.
I don't know. I would assume that she was playing swords with you and Riku on the island also, unless you just didn't let her pick up a sword, you know, for certain reasons. God damn you, Nomura, I'm gonna see you in hell. We return to Hollow Bastion and seal up the keyhole where the FF crew catches up, determined to restore this world the home they once knew. It's a nice moment for their story to come full circle, though also bittersweet, as they confirm that once we defeat Ansem and restore order, the worlds will become fully divided again, meaning we'll never be able to see each other again.
We may never meet again, but we'll never forget each other.
No matter where we are, our hearts will bring us together again.
Besides, I couldn't forget you, even if I wanted to.
What's that supposed to mean?
Of course, we'll contradict that later, but, you know, for this moment, it works well enough to reinform that theme of friendship, that even if we're not together, we will always remain connected. And also kind of reaffirm that our responsibility to saving the world is more important than our own personal feelings. Oh yeah, and the Princesses of Heart are also awake. You know, they say that they're holding back the darkness from the world's keyhole before Sora seals it, but there's no real indication of them actually doing that. No spells, no holding hands for big energy shield, no light beams, just them standing in the next room, and no voice dialogue either. What makes it worse is that their dialogue doesn't get to convey any of their individual personalities either. Even Jasmine and Alice, who we've already met. It just really drives home that the princesses got all their personality and individuality stripped away to make them into these supposedly important plot devices. And yes, these girls did have plenty of personality in their original movies. Even Aurora, the most boring among them. And you know what, even Snow White, and she came out in the 30s. I mean, at least Belle is over in the library because, you know, she likes books. That's something, I guess. And she does give us one of the best Keyblades in the game, so she gets a pass. So Ansem has retreated into the darkness, and we follow him to the true final world, the end of the world.
Gorge, is that all that's left of the worlds taken by the Heartless?
Those worlds will be restored if we beat Ansem, right?
You betcha!
But if we do beat him, and all these worlds become restored and disconnected, what's gonna happen to this place? And to us?
This is a heartless world, so maybe it'll just disappear.
Huh?
But no worries. Even if this place goes poof, our hearts ain't going nowhere. I'm sure we'll find our pals again. Yep, I just know that we will.
Yeah, you're right. I'll return this. I promise.
This one is very abstract and funky, being a collection of the ruins of all the worlds destroyed by the Heartless. You don't really get to see the ruined versions of iconic Disney environments though. Instead, it's a series of really weird alien-like rooms, from an endless purple salt plain that's actually an invisible maze of enemy gauntlets, to a giant crevice full of gummy blocks, to several towers with fiery portals. Each portal leads back to one of the previous worlds, though I'm still not sure whether this is how the Heartless gain access to them, or if these are merely illusions of the worlds. I am leaning towards illusions since Sora's footsteps give the slimy surface you hear in End of the World. I guess it's kind of funny then that this is, in a way, a precursor to Chain of Memories. No reason. The final portal leads to Ansem's lab, the suggested birthplace of the emblem Heartless. Oh, yes, the Heartless come in two types. It wasn't really important to distinguish that before now, but you know, we're gonna do it now anyway. The pure blood Heartless, like the Shadows, are beings of pure darkness that have always existed. The emblem Heartless, meanwhile, were artificially created by Ansem, whose emblems house actual hearts that they have stolen. Then we get an unexpected but very welcome Disney cameo as a boss. Chernabog. Chernabog is from Fantasia, specifically the Night on Bald Mountain segment. It even features the original composition by Mussorgsky. I don't know how to say this. I must say, including Chernabog, who is basically the literal devil, here in the world of the Heartless, is a perfect choice. His design could even pass for one of the pureblood Heartless. Once he's dealt with, you head inside the mountain and through one last enemy gauntlet. For whatever reason, this last bit of the game loves throwing behemoths at you. In the second visit to Hollow Bastion, in the Hades Cup, and then 3 behemoths here in End of the World. And I don't get it. It's not a particularly difficult boss. You know, just hop on its back, shut up Phil, and then hit the horn until it dies. And no, recoloring it slightly each time doesn't make it more interesting. It really doesn't. At long last, the final battle is upon us. We wind up on Destiny Islands, or a recreation of them, which quickly comes apart as Ansem's voice talking about the darkness of the heart echoes all around. Riku is still possessed by Ansem, to the point where his personality has been seemingly completely suppressed. Ansem uses this as a chance to monologue about darkness being the heart's true essence.
Take a look at this tiny place. To the heart seeking freedom, this island is a prison, surrounded by water. And so this boy sought out to escape from his prison. He sought a way to cross over into other worlds, and he opened his heart to darkness.
Riku!
Don't bother. Your voice can no longer reach him where he is. His heart belongs again to darkness. All worlds begin in darkness, and all so end. The heart is no different. Darkness sprouts within it. It grows, consumes it. Such is its nature. In the end, every heart returns to the darkness whence it came. You see, darkness is the heart's true essence.
In normal people speech, he means that people are inherently evil, selfish, and willing to throw everything and everyone away for power. I mean, he did that, and Riku kinda did that too, even if he didn't necessarily set out to be full-on evil. But Sora, ever the optimist, delivers another cheesy speech about light.
Darkness is the heart's true essence.
That's not true! The heart may be weak, and sometimes it may even give in. But I've learned that deep down there's a light that never goes out.
To me, this gives maintaining hope even in the direst of straits. Specifically hope that Riku will power through and take back his body, with a little help from Sora hitting Ansem with his Keyblade, of course. Oh, and of course having hope in the goodness of people in their hearts or whatever. I know I'm struggling to keep that alive in the 2020s, good lord.
So you have come this far, and still you understand nothing. Every light must fade, every heart return to darkness!
Naturally, we've got many phases for this final battle gauntlet, beginning with the trio against Ansem and his guardian, or as some folks call it,
Guardian!
You filthy silly bitches. We then get a couple solo fights, where both the Darkseid and Ansem want rematches with Sora. As you will see from the rest of the series, Ansem, in whatever form he takes, is a man who never learns from being beaten up by a child. And then, to make sure we fully harness the power of Final Fantasy, we are dumped into an endless abyss, where Ansem and his guardian take the form of a giant heartless ship. The sickly pinks, purples, and blues clash super well against each other, making the ship feel truly alive and otherworldly. Beautiful, but in a very disgusting, grotesque way. After a few more rounds, Kingdom Hearts, the Heart of All Worlds, appears.
Behold the endless abyss. Within it lies the heart of all worlds. Kingdom Hearts. Look as hard as you are able. You'll not find even the smallest glimmer of light. From those dark depths are all hearts born. Even yours.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts is more than just a title. No one can agree what it is or where it is or what it's supposed to look like, but the big yawn doors over yonder, yeah, those are basically the go-to signal. Think of Kingdom Hearts as like the source of creation, the font of, I was gonna say light, but it's also darkness. Whatever, Heart of All Worlds, I think, gets that pretty good. Ansem believes Kingdom Hearts to be the source of all darkness, since he believes hearts themselves are inherently dark. But Sora, of course, calls Kingdom Hearts being light, right in time for it to blind Ansem like he is leaving the basement for the first time in years.
It is futile. The Keyblade alone cannot seal the door to darkness. Kingdom Hearts! Fill me with the power of darkness! Supreme darkness!
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt. Kingdom Hearts is light!
Light!
But why?
Future self, it's the Goofy Goober moment. Do it.
I know now, without a doubt.
I'm a Goofy Goober!
The light destroys Ansem, but unfortunately the doors of Kingdom Hearts also lead to the innermost darkness, just like Kairi's grandmother said. This innermost darkness is the realm of darkness, where the Heartless originate. It's basically hell. It's the Kingdom Hearts version of hell. Thankfully, Riku comes back in the nick of time, as does His Majesty Ricky Rat, who himself wields a Keyblade.
Your Majesty!
Now, Sora, let's close this door for good!
Riku helps to close the door from the inside, while Sora and Mickey lock the door with their Keyblades from either side. This leaves Riku and Mickey in the realm of darkness, while Sora, Donald, and Goofy are just kind of left stranded in this weird abyss. This victory does manage to restore all the lost worlds, including Destiny Islands. Sora, however, can't return home till he finds Riku.
Kairi! Remember what you said before? I'm always with you too. I'll come back to you. I promise!
I know you will!
While Kairi returns to the island safe and sound, Sora, Donald, and Goofy march into the darkness. I guess they just kind of forgot where they parked the Gummi ship. I have to say, I really appreciate Kingdom Hearts 1's story more and more each time I revisit it. Yes, it's a bit awkward in places, but the structure of the story and its themes continue to age like wine. If Kingdom Hearts 1 is about growing up, then Sora and Riku show contrasting ideas of what that entails. For Riku, it is the belief of leaving anything deemed childish or silly or frivolous behind, to become stoic, to gain power, to be seen as strong no matter what it takes. He justifies it as a way to protect Kairi, but I doubt Kairi herself would want him to hurt anybody else to do that, least of all Sora. Riku's narrow view of maturity is one born of apathy and selfishness, a lack of care for what the people you want to protect actually want, and a lack of interest in anybody outside your tiny circle, a rejection of community. I do wish Sora was more clearly flawed in KH1, making more clear mistakes, but I do think it's interesting how Riku is clearly wrong that Sora no longer cares about him. Sora literally says that he's been searching for Riku and Kairi, but to Riku, caring about anybody else automatically invalidates that. Why save these other worlds that have nothing to do with them? And there's also obvious envy in the Keyblade valuing Sora's love of others, whereas Riku is like, but like, I'm cool and mature and strong, so like, why does the mystical house key not like me? What I'm saying is Riku's giving Manosphere, but like a gay version of it. For Sora, growing up is about finding true strength in connection, and learning that taking responsibility is about caring for other people, in realizing the impact that your actions have on others and acting accordingly, to help those in need, to help and protect the innocent. To me, the fact that it's Disney worlds that we've been saving and Disney characters we've been befriending reinforces that you don't have to let go of elements of your childhood to grow up. You don't have to let go of simple joys or optimism or valuing people's happiness. Yes, you can still like this goofy game where you, Donald, and Goofy, are journeying through Disney worlds to save the world or whatever. No matter what your age is, you can still like the silly thing. While I do wish Kairi got more to do, I can kinda forgive her role in the story in the first game, kinda tepidly so. Most of my frustration just comes from knowing how she's gonna be ridden in the rest of the games and the fact that it's only gonna get worse from here. The Disney worlds were a bit of a mixed bag, though. I dig the attempt of many of them to be plot relevant and to make them more than just rehashes of their movies, but I don't think the team quite knew how to go about that for their first outing. Most of this comes down to obtuse level design, awkward cutscene direction, and not knowing how to write most of the women in these casts. Holy shit. It really do be the girlies catching all the strays and the brunt of this. Oh, Jesus. So you might be wondering, why is it called Final Mix? Basically, when Kingdom Hearts 1 was released, it was later re-released in Japan with additional content, effectively making it a director's cut. And this version was branded as Final Mix. Previously, these versions were exclusive to Japan, but were brought to other regions through the HD collections. We've got a few new secret enemies in different areas, along with color palette swaps for most of the Heartless, and most of them suck. You sadly can't switch between the original and Final Mix colors, but there are patches for the PC version to restore the original colors, thank God. The OG colors just suit the designs far better and make better use of color theory, and the recolors are just very ugly and haphazard. There's a few new Keyblades too, namely as rewards for secret bosses, like One Winged Angel for defeating Sephiroth, or Diamond Dust for defeating the Ice Titan. We get a few new cutscenes, including Riku calling out for Sora when he arrives in Hollow Bastion, and also Riku wandering the Realm of Darkness while Sora and Kairi talk in Traverse Town. There's a few new Ansem reports for all the lore nerds, but the big one here is the inclusion of the Unknown secret boss. No, literally, he's called Unknown.
Who are you?
I am Sam?
What's that supposed to mean?
Kingdom Hearts loves to have secret mega bosses that are actually the big bads of later games, and this guy is a doozy. I have yet to beat him, but he doesn't make it easy with how he zips around, shooting lasers and making shields of light that melt your face. You can also unlock the secret ending, which features an entirely new environment, a dark, rainy city filled with neon lights and signs. Here walks a cloaked figure wielding 2 keyblades, Oathkeeper and Oblivion, along with Riku wearing a matching cloak and a blindfold to be edgy. They fight against Neo Shadow Heartless, you know, the Shadow's older, deadlier cousin, and then clash against each other, all as we have a countdown from 13. The tone is far moodier than anything in KH1, and I really have to hand it to Tetsuya Nomura, the game's creator and director, for his insane, unique imagery. He may not be the best writer, but damn if that man doesn't know how to pop off with his visuals and out there concepts. Why is Riku wearing a blindfold? What is this city? Are we in Gotham? Why can this hooded dude dual wield keyblades? And the answers to those questions will make you cry like a bitch. KH1 might have its problems, but for the first entry in a series, and really a pioneer of 3D action RPGs, it does a wonderful job at engrossing you in a concept that should never have worked, and not only makes you take it seriously, but rips out your goddamn heart. This game is so incredibly charming because of its sincerity, because it went to the effort to tie all of these disparate properties together into an original universe, and to attach a theme that is pretty well thought out, I would argue, and feels like a very organic one for kids growing up with all these properties. Kingdom Hearts isn't memorable just because of its weird crossover pitch, but because of its original characters, their relationships with each other, and their journeys into adulthood. And also the memes. The memes are truly glorious. Unfortunately, this is the last time the game stories are going to be this simple and straightforward. Things are going to get more and more complex. You know, kind of like life, now that I think about it, goddamn. But at the very least, they will remain emotionally potent. For a while. But our next entry is definitely going to be a fun follow-up. Because, my dear newbies, the next game is not Kingdom Hearts 2. That's right. The second game in this series, the sequel to KH1, is not KH2, but rather Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Well, technically Chain of Memories. We'll get there. And having finished it a while ago, I actually have transformed the way I view this game. You know, I used to respect Chain of Memories, but I didn't really fuck with it gameplay-wise. Ooh, do I have fun things to share. But that's for next time. Until then, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this from me, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, YouTube hates creators, you know the drill. And again, if you can, pledging your support for myself and the channel over on Patreon helps me continue the work that I do. I'm the Unicorn of War, and Sora's life is kind of a shit show, not gonna lie.